All right. I think I pretty much got everything set up here on my end. Welcome, folks. Hello. Everybody joining us, joining me for this stream. Hopefully, I don't get my arse kicked. Trying to get my arse kicked. Don't get your arse kicked. Trying to get my arse. Probably shouldn't say stuff like that right as you're starting stream up, and probably something works in the algorithm to be like, you don't just. I actually got a canopy sniper. Shut the fuck up. There it goes again. There I go. Ruining my chances. I gotta post this in our Discord now. Wow, so funny. So I just had to post something real quick, just because I was talking to the homies in our Money Match Gaming's Discord. We recently made a Gods Unchained section. Not that we weren't talking about it before in every other section of the Discord, but recently I came across a deck that kind of messed me up a little bit, and it's because they had a bunch of Amazons in their deck, and I have one of my decks specifically made for Amazons as well. But they had a bunch of Amazons, and then they had the Canopy Sniper Amazon in there as well, and she wrecked me. It made it so that anytime an Amazon attacked, this Canopy Sniper would deal damage to a random creature on the board, an enemy creature. And so if they attacked one of my creatures, they would do another damage. And it's they'd have 2 or 3 Amazons out at a time, and the Canopy Sniper wouldn't even have to shoot or attack most of the time. They just did extra damage. I'm just like, oh my goodness. So it was quite the difficult card to combat, but you know what I'm saying. What's going on there? Just that. Oh yeah, I opened up the stream today. Just about to get started streaming, and first I had a pack, and I opened up that pack, and sure enough, I had a Canopy Sniper in that pack. Oh my goodness! So I just got a Canopy Sniper. So happy for it. I'll let you guys see what that card looks like here. Let me. Oh my goodness! I gotta do it manually because I'm gonna have to walk around to my setup and plug it in and out. There it is. It's the rare one that I got. Canopy Sniper right there. So I'm gonna work that into my decks. Yeah. And now that I've done that, I'm gonna put this back on the wait screen for just a split second so I can plug in, plug out, plug in, plug out, whatever. My Stream Deck, Elgato Stream Deck, which has been, it must be on its last legs or something. It must be on its last legs, because it's been doing that like every single stream lately. Like, you better start me up the right way. Like, what is the right way to start you up? Because I would like you to just not be messed up one of these times. Yes, I'm starting up. Yeah. All right, but with that, we are ready. Let's play some Gods Unchained today. As you know, when we like to play Gods Unchained, we like to do giveaways. So I am doing a giveaway today. 0.001 Ethereum to somebody who is in our Discord that types exclamation giveaway in chat. Anybody can win. Anybody can win. Most of the times, a new person wins. It's been most of the time lately. Previous, the first few weeks that I ran it, same people winning over and over and over again. And recently, we've been having some different winners, so I'm happy to see that. Happy to see new players, and there have been a lot of new players in Gods Unchained that are winning too. So I'm happy to help you out, get you started in Gods Unchained, and get you that better deck that you've been dying for. I'm also happy I didn't just have to pay for that Canopy Sniper. I wish they let me check this Star Store before I really get started today. What about if they had one in there? Smush it. It would have been nice. Secrets Broker. If you have fewer cards in your hand than your opponent, you draw a card or effects trigger, and you play a card after it leaves your hand. Roar effects trigger when you play a card after it leaves your hand. like other rule effects that you already had on the board? Like, what does that mean exactly? I'm a little slightly shooketh on what they mean there. Backline war, that's in. I might have to make a light deck to get past these magic decks that keep stalling me after I get to a certain level. But we're starting in Solar Gold this weekend. Hussa! Who said? I have to get on my pony in not too long. I probably got an hour or two to play today. Then I gotta get on my pony and get out. But yeah. Oh, and that was the other thing I wanted to share. While we're playing today, I'm gonna be listening to some videos. I am gonna listen to them all in 2x speed because that's the way I like it. But I'm gonna be listening to some videos from crypto influencers such as Anthony Pompliano, Altcoin Daily, Ozzy DeFi, new DeFi influencer in the drip community, Minority Mindset, Tyler S, Alan Cosin. Actually, I've only seen that guy a few times, and I usually don't listen to his videos. Blockchain Trapper, also a new influencer in the DeFi and drip community. Anthony Pompliano again with the Best Business Show, and that'll be it. That'll be it for today. But we're gonna listen to that all in 2x speed. Let's hit it, because I didn't listen to anything today. I just,
You've got three charts for us today. The first one is Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're up here. What are you looking at when you see the Bitcoin and Ethereum charts? Yeah, so those two charts are what we call our volatility adjustment momentum signal. On the top panel and the bottom panels are probably ring analysis. So without being too technically jargony, but one thing that, so the chart on the bottom panels where we show the ranges, those ranges are quantitatively linked to the volatility adjustment momentum signal. So if something's bullish, there's more skew to the upside of the range. If something's bearish, there's more skew to the downside of the range. When an asset tends to sort of hug the lower boundary or the upper boundary of the problem range, it's usually a leading indicator. 9 times out of 10 that, hey, I want to transition to a more bullish or bearish state. And so right now, Bitcoin and Ethereum have been bearish for a while, as you might imagine. It's the red shading at the upper panel. But they've been hugging the problem ranges pretty consistently for the last week or so. And that typically is like, hey, look, I'm sick of being bearish. I want to break out. And when it breaks out, the range shifts and changes. And so I'm watching that like a hawk. It's, that kind of leads me to the second chart, which is where I show net liquidity. So the net liquidity is the Fed balance sheet minus the Treasury general account balance. That's sort of a more accurate depiction of how much liquidity is being pumped into or removed from asset markets at any given time by the monetary and fiscal authorities. And what you see is that, you pull that chart back as far as it goes, it's a 0.9 something correlation to the S&P. Well, every once in a while it deviates. Either the S&P goes meaningfully higher than it or meaningfully lower than it. The last time we had a meaningfully lower deviation was in September of 2021, and we had that massive melt up in October 2021, which by the way we nailed. That massive melt up was a function of, look, we deviated too much. The monetary conditions, the liquidity conditions didn't change. Well, they haven't changed much since early 2022, but we've had this massive deviation in S&P terms and risk asset terms away from the net liquidity line. And so the key takeaway was that, okay, now we're on the other side of OPEX. Now we got more color and clarity on the Fed's tightening path. We're still waiting to get more info on quantitative tightening. We're probably going to get that in the Fed's early May meeting. But for now, it seems like the coast is somewhat clear unless we get a meaningfully adverse shock from a geopolitical risk perspective. Now, again, I'll say this every week, so I'm blue in the face. I have no idea what we're going to get from a geopolitical risk perspective. No one does. I'm not even sure Putin does. It's a rapid fire game of chess right now. So in the context of not knowing what's going to happen there, we're saying, look, the market could gravitate back towards that blue line. The red line in that chart, the market can gravitate back towards that blue line, and you kind of look at it on just on like a correlation basis. It's somewhere around like 4,700 on the S&P in terms of where you could get up to before anything else changes. And that to me is that's a if that happened, again, there's a kind of a 1 or 2 month window here where that could happen before growth starts to pick up to the downside. And if that does happen, obviously you're probably going to see Bitcoin and Ethereum do some positive things.
When you start to look at inflation as a driver, and you've got the Europe inflation charts here, but we're obviously seeing this all across the world. Is that a huge tailwind or driver of this, or do you think that that's more of a narrative on Twitter or in the media, but these assets aren't really trading in any correlation or impact by inflation?
No, so one thing that's happened with crypto, and this is something I said back in October 2020, I think I was speaking at you, and I said, look, the more institutional firms adopt cryptocurrency and digital assets in general, the more correlated it's going to become to S&P and NASDAQ, because they have sort of fall targeting, risk budgets and things of that nature, and so it's all going to start to become one kind of big trade, and that's exactly what happened. And so the sort of inflation hedge aspect of the crypto digital asset space sort of got lost or got buried underneath the, no wait, this is as far out on the risk curve, risk spectrum as you could possibly be in terms of the realized volatility of the asset. And so that really, in my opinion, that institutional adoption and obviously the institutional puking of these types of assets really weighed on that. So I don't believe that's lost its inflation hedge kind of inflation hedge ability. It's just that the risk, kind of the widening of risk premia in this most recent kind of 2 to 3 months, really, so going back to November, has been kind of overwhelming factor. But it just
I didn't summon one because I didn't have a wild creature. Oh my god, I messed that up.
First quarter on record in the bond market, as far back as we got the data, which is like 1970 something. So I'm sure there have been worse quarters historically, but as far back as we had that Bloomberg index, and so one thing that's really been growing in the bond market, keep me up at night because I'm long bonds like an asshole. Is the fact that this European inflation dynamic is really just it's been a big surprise. Like we all know the U.S. inflation dynamic has been a big surprise to the upside. That's the blue line.
Bro, how long can elephant money be this bullish?
Kind of like how surprised are economists by inflation at any given time. The higher the number, the more surprised economists are in terms of their estimates. Well, the blue line's obviously he's been trending kind of right around its all-time high for the past kind of really 9 months. But the red line, it looks like for lack of a better phrase, it's like like Europe's inflation surprise momentum and the kind of shock to the positive shock to inflation in Europe has been on the orders of magnitude as a positive shock to inflation in us. And I think about the U.S. inflation. It's all we talk about. You're gonna leave here, you're gonna complain about inflation. You're talking about inflation. I'm gonna talk about inflation. All anyone talks about these days. Now multiply that times 3, and that's where Europe is right now. And so that big shock to inflation really catalyzed a massive repricing in the European sovereign debt market that started in early January. It continues, and it's probably going to continue until sort of those dynamics get under control. Inflation peaks in Europe. I'm always that during the second quarter. But more importantly, that repricing in the European sovereign debt curve is probably still hostage to the fiscal response to all this inflation pressure, because Europe they're kind of talking about maybe cutting gas taxes, issuing checks to households to sort of help offset prices, which I mean is stupid. I mean, dear God, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my entire life. Let's increase demand to help fight inflation. I mean, but they'll try. These people, we've seen enough from these ridiculous economists over time. So
they have their choice. Hey, you! Did you like this video? Great. We make 5 of them a day and post them here on this channel. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and see you next time.
And so I think that there's plenty of people who point at the industry, they laugh, they don't understand it. But what I do know is that the world's wealthiest people, not the future wealthiest, the world's wealthiest people today are crypto investors. And my guess is that over time, the Forbes 400 is going to be dominated by Bitcoin crypto investors.
Yes, welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily, where you subscribe for one video per day. Demystifying this cryptocurrency market. My name's Austin. That was, of course, Anthony on CNBC this morning, talking about the wider crypto market as well as the Bitcoin price. We'll get to this, but we must start with the breaking news of the day. Russia is on record that they're open to taking payments for their natural gas in Bitcoin. This is coming right from the chair of their Congressional Energy Committee. Wow, this is big. Like this, support this, get this information out there. And while this full clip is a little over 1 minute long, I won't play it in today's video like I usually would, just because it's all in Russian. So seek this out on your own to watch the full clip. But the direct quote was on what they're willing to accept for their natural gas. The currencies used can be different, and it's a normal practice. If it's Bitcoin, then it's Bitcoin. They're saying, sure, why not? You want to pay us in US dollars? That's fine. You want to pay us in gold, the ruble? That's fine. You want to pay us in Bitcoin? Hell yeah, that's valuable to us too. We'll take it. And actually, maybe I don't know anymore about the US dollar if they're really accepting that, but they will accept gold and they will accept Bitcoin. Russia can trade with friendly countries in national currencies for Bitcoin. This is right from the chairman of the State Duma on energy. Give me your thoughts on this down below. What was once unheard of. This would have been crazy talk 4 or 5 years ago to think a nation state would do something like this. But cut to today, par for the course. The dominoes continue to fall. I can't believe this is real life. Bitcoin is truly for everyone, regardless of your personal opinion. Nation states are open to accept payment on a decentralized economy. And remember, Bitcoin is for everyone. We see Ukraine refugees using Bitcoin to transport wealth and funding their defense with BTC donations. Russia now open to accepting Bitcoin as payment for energy resources. Bitcoin is simply money for everyone, friends and enemies alike. Okay, so undoubtedly bullish, but this does bring me to my next obvious question. When will the price go parabolic? How come we're not seeing an explosion today? Well, first off, I want to say I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research, make your own decisions. And especially in the short term, Bitcoin can do anything. We can take another leg down. We can take another leg up. Anything is possible with Bitcoin, especially in the short term, so always be careful. But like we reported 2 days ago, the Bitcoin supply on exchanges is now at its lowest level since December 2018. And we know this because we have the data to back it up. Bitcoin's ratio of supply sitting on exchanges continues dropping hard, down to its lowest level since December 2018. And just in these last 2 months, there is 13.5% less Bitcoin on these exchange wallets compared to just 2 months ago, amounting to 1.6% less of the overall supply. This shows me that accumulation is happening in a big way. Listen to the 60-second clip of Anthony Pompliano talking Bitcoin price today. Watch this.
What is keeping Bitcoin from breaking out this year the way it had last year?
Yeah, one of the big things that is very obvious with Bitcoin is that the supply-demand mechanisms are very well understood. And so you can actually go ahead and check on the on-chain metrics where the supply is and how liquid. And what we're watching is exactly what we actually saw in 2020, and again, the summer of 2021, right before the big run-up, is that more and more long-term holders are acquiring Bitcoin, they're taking it off of exchanges, miners are acquiring Bitcoin, they're not selling what they're mining. And so you're getting this highly illiquid supply that once a catalyst hits, regardless of what it is, whether it comes from a environment, whether it comes from a big buyer of Bitcoin, many things, that catalyst will go ahead and kind of ignite this underlying illiquid market, and I would expect to see a very big move in the Bitcoin price. Now, when that happens is the big question. Will that happen in the coming weeks? Will it take months to happen? Nobody knows. But whenever we get these lulls where people are taking the supply off the market, it's becoming highly illiquid, that's where we see those bear block moves happen shortly afterwards.
All right, I like it. Let's keep going. Let's get to the news. Check the timestamps down below. And quick shout out for sponsor of the channel, the FTX app. If you're looking for the cheapest place to buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, altcoins securely in minutes, the FTX app literally has 0 fees. Link down below, check it out. And use code ALTCOINDAILY and get a free coin when you trade at least $10 worth of crypto. Next piece of news involving the US and crypto. The US Senate to now officially consider a bill examining El Salvador's Bitcoin standard. So the country of El Salvador has made such a splash that now the United States Congress is getting a little worried about the dominance of the US dollar. This is called the Accountability for Cryptocurrency in El Salvador Act, ACES, and this was introduced bipartisan by Republicans and Democrats alike. In a direct quote about this proposed bill, as El Salvador has adopted Bitcoin as legal tender, it's important we understand and mitigate potential risks to the US financial system. The bill would also ask the US to now monitor remittances from El Salvador, and since then, the El Salvadorian president has expressed discontent after the bill received a committee passage. In a direct quote from the president of El Salvador, he tweeted, "Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that the US government would be afraid of what we're doing here. So more and more of the world is watching as Bitcoin takes over. Crazy times." Next piece of altcoin news, Charles Hoskinson cheekily admits, "I was wrong about DApp rollout." The co-founder of the Cardano blockchain, Charles Hoskinson, has cheekily admitted that his July 2020 forecast of the number of dApps coming to the blockchain has not yet come to fruition. This, of course, is referring to his July 2020 tweet, which was in the depths of the bear market. There's no excitement, there's only depression and pain, and he tweeted that in 1 year's time, Cardano's dApps would be thousands. As of a few days ago, remember when I predicted thousands of assets and dApps on Cardano? Well, I was wrong. There are now millions of native assets issued, and dApps are now in the hundreds, slow and steady. So cool to see the network grow. And by the way, in a sense, he was sort of misremembering his own tweet, because actually back then, predicted in July 2020, he said that by 2021, there would be hundreds of assets and thousands of dApps on Cardano. And now 2 years later, we have hundreds, not thousands, yet millions of assets. If you're asking, where are the dApps? What are they? Well, looking at a list of the top 10, MinSwap, SundaySwap, MussoliniSwap, NowSwapFi, 8xPro, Binance, and Meld. That's top 7. So deep, it's growing. According to the leading Cardano ecosystem tracker, Cardano Q, there are right now 579 dApps in various stages of development. I will keep you updated, but let's keep moving. Next up, let's talk about SHIB. Over 263 billion SHIB, worth over $6.3 million, has been burned since October 2021, meaning a quarter of a trillion SHIB has been destroyed since late October last year. Damn. Well, how come price isn't going up? Or first off, how do we know that this actually happened? Well, the head of a major SHIB burner, the company's called Payment, Stephen Cooper, has taken to Twitter to confirm this. 263.4 billion SHIB have been burned through community initiatives since October of last year, and that's over $6.3 million at the current SHIB price. 2 billion of those were burned in the last 24 hours. Amazing. Way to go, SHIB Army. We're stronger together. Let's make it our goal to unite even further. All right. And again, that is his company. They focus on crypto, coin burns. So this is happening. If you like SHIB, if you like this.
Man, I knew I should have put out more cards than just that one.
And Aaron and I will actually be speaking at technical panels of NFT LA.
Oh my god, I'm talking to this one dude in our Discord. He really thinks Dogecoin outperforms a bunch of other tokens. He thinks it outperforms Ethereum. And like, fam, that is just not true, unfortunately. Like, I get that, like,
And so I think that there's plenty of people
some
out there
people
that
believe the
should
Dogecoin is
well,
actually
you know,
good.
the world's wealthiest
That's
people-
just not
people
true.
realize The world's wealthiest people today are crypto investors, and my guess is that over time, the Fortune 400 is going to be dominated by Bitcoin crypto investors. And so if you want to be part of that, you should get into the industry.
It's like kind of silly that people actually think that.
So today, Tom from my Telegram asked a really important question. Why drip goes down? Guys, I want to know too, why drip goes down? You probably thinking that, oh, it's just because, you know, the animal farm and the piggy bank, all the hype, all that stuff got attention away from drip. Well, it's actually way more than that, guys. There's much more that goes into why drip is going down that people don't know about. And today I have Charles, one of the realest admins on my Telegram, here to explain exactly what is going on with the price. He said something very, very insightful. He said, why drip goes down? Question mark. Well, starting list, many factors. Because scared unbelievers are selling. Man, you can't doubt that. Most people got in around this time, man. They only believe in the chart. They only believe in the greens. They didn't know much about the protocol. They just said, oh, people are going in. Guess it's time to FOMO. And they got in, and now they're selling because they see it going down. So you can't blame them. Most people are going to be unbelievers, and that's just how it is. So you can't really say much about that. Now the next one was because there's no action / excitement right now while we wait for the farm to come back. Guys, is there anything really exciting about seeing a huge pause signal? Since I don't even know how long, it's been at least 3 weeks now. This has been saying pause, pause, pause. Everything is just pause, pause, pause. What's exciting about that? There's nothing for investors to do. In crypto, you want to have fun. You want some excitement, all right? And we're not seeing that right now. 3 we got because people are moving money to other projects while they're bored, dropping the TBL. People want some excitement in crypto, man, because everyone has forgotten about the reservoir, guys. The reservoir, the reservoir, the reservoir. I made a video about this, and I told people that if you look carefully at the reservoir, one of the most underrated things on the drip network, this could possibly be the thing that actually saves drip, especially because when you deposit drop, which is basically the drip version of the reservoir, you're helping to back up the price of drip by hardening the liquidity floor. That's how it works. And so, unfortunately, there's not a lot of people in the reservoir. I don't even got much in here myself. I mean, honest, I got what 0.005 drop. That's nothing because the supply of drip is not going down. Yes, of course. And this last one right here is the truest statement because you aren't buying enough drip, guys. I'm not buying enough drip. I'm being honest. I'm gonna keep it, but I'm not buying enough drip. I fall victim to at least 2 of these things. I'm not an unbeliever. That's definitely not true. Excitement, I'm definitely victim to that. I like to invest, right? I love DeFi, and I'm interested in a lot of DeFi projects.
I'm getting wrecked. I'm getting wrecked right now. Can't hold up. I'm getting wrecked. Oh my goodness, I just looked at this chat again. This dude also said, does that make me pause? How can I pause? Can I pause what I'm doing? Alright, yeah, that pauses it. Yeah, this dude also said he thought Pancake Swap flopped. I'm like, bro, what? It's like, man, I thought Uniswap flopped because nobody's talking about Uniswap anymore. Like, it's an exchange. Like, nobody talking about Binance right now, but like, why would the exchange be down? It's the place where people can trade money. There's only so many of them. That's just like, and like, I consider him to be more knowledgeable about this stuff. That means like average people have no fucking clue what's happening. They got no clue. They're actually in the dark.
But I can't do anything on the side while I wait for the drip to go back up. What is his advice? Buy more drip during the drip. Man, he just said done, man. I ain't got no drip. I ain't got nothing to buy the drip with, but I see what he means. Of course, you got some money, buy the dip. Don't sell at this price. Hydrate and compound the plans as well. Not financial advice, just some thoughts, possible causes. Now I have 5 more plans to bury before going to bed. This guy, man, I swear, he's like, he's one of the nicest dudes. Tell your family you love them a lot. Bro, I know the type of guy he is.
It just mind boggles me, bro. I'm like, wow, people really be messing up. Try. We be posting videos, tweets, talking about it in our Discord. I feel like people just like, I mean, like if this dude's ignoring it, because I'm like, he always be like, oh, I like crypto and stuff like that. Like if you're ignoring it, other people gotta really be ignoring it. And what's the point of that? What's the point in being like, you know, making yourself poor and stuff, and like not trying to ever succeed in life, really? Until like some influence, somebody else did. Oh, this person has a 50,000 audience or something. They told me it's okay, so now I can believe it. Like what?
And I see some dogs, and I have dogs. Let's believe I'm excited. I want to get some more dogs. And then we got this right here. Piggy bank. Once it goes live, we'll be given a 15% bonus for the next 48 hours, guys. The piggy bank itself, it has a lot of potential because of the fact that it has a time block bonus and 3% a day, guys. With 15% bonus added to it, you're just overpowered at that point. That is very exciting for people that are interested in getting into the animal farm or piggy bank at all. That's definitely something to look forward to. Much, and he said in the AMA as well too that there's about $1 million at least. I think he said something about $1 million in marketing that they have available. So once this goes live, he says they're going to be spending that money on marketing for the animal farm. So let's believe that when it comes to the animal farm, we Gucci, right? Now, time to talk about drip. Pancake Swap, the largest finance smart chain index of all the crypto. They came out with a tweet a couple of days ago, like a week now, about a little bunny with a drip on his shirt. And you know, the drip community freaked out a little bit to the point where we started buying the deal. That was exciting. That was another thing that was very exciting coming in right here. We saw it go up a little bit, and I guess it only lasted for about 2 days and then went right back down. But at least that was something, you know. There's a couple other reasons why that could have been as well too. You know, I saw that some other YouTubers, some big YouTubers also talked about this for the first time on their channel. So that's another reason why the price went up. This is cool. All right, we already discussed this, but people aren't talking about this right here. Again, shout out to the Telegram. Right?
I'm gonna leave that so they got more options to go ahead.
This right here, the partnership with Binance and PancakeSwap. Binance, y'all. Binance. You know what Binance is? Look at it. It says with 8.1 million followers, they are partnering with PancakeSwap, 1.5 million followers. These are people that have most likely.
They need that thing to hit me, and then their guy can attack me straight up. If that doesn't happen, then I'm good.
So if you see anything with PancakeSwap, including a lending partnership, you're gonna see that PancakeSwap is gonna be on Binance Smart Chain app, and Drip is gonna be on PancakeSwap. So what does that tell you? That means we got two different sources of new eyes coming into Drip, and it's not just small eyes; it's a huge group combined.
I mean, it could be Liquid Driver. I know everybody thought it was Drip, but it really could be Liquid Driver too.
1% of that. That is a whole.
Oh, they got it. It's game.
just like that. If you can just get 1% of them coming from Binance and from PancakeSwap to Drip, that is a whole new set of eyes. And you can see that this right here, this price could easily 2x, the all-time high could easily 2x as well. I'm upset. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm upset. I want to see my Drip go up. I want to see the improvements, the innovations, all these different things come up. So I'm keeping it with y'all, man. I'm not happy, but that does not mean that I'm not buying this Drip deal. I got me some. What I got? Let me see what I got. I got a good amount. I got 0.4. Let's leave what I'm gonna buy right now, guys. I'm gonna buy some Drip. And you think I'm gonna put it in deposits? Nah, I'm gonna put it to the people because I know y'all need some Drip right now. Listen, if I can get y'all to grow in numbers, we can get to 200 people on my team by the end of March, guys. I don't got a lot of money to airdrop, but I don't mean I ain't gonna airdrop, right? I gotta buy some Drip, and I'm gonna be able to make sure that my people is fed too. So I'm gonna go do a I'm gonna do a random spin real quick. We got 136, generate that. 81, man. Wherever that 81 is, let's believe you're gonna get some Drip right now. 81. Ooh, look like you need one too. Best believe I got you, bro. I got you. I'm gonna get you one Drip. That's what I can afford. I'm not gonna lie, bro. If I can get 200 people on my team by the end of March, there's a good chance that I could be making 250 Drip, guys, for free from the admins in the Telegram. So I'm really looking forward to that because if I can get 250 Drip, that means I'm almost at 300 Drip, and I'm getting 3 Drip every single day. I can definitely, for like a good week or so, I can definitely give back to you guys and airdrop back more over to you. I can get 300 Drip in total deposits. That's gonna make it so much easier to do airdrops and get back to all the people over here. Look at so much people over here, and let's not forget the piggy bank too, man. Piggy bank, I want to give to y'all, man. Trust me, I really wish I could give to everybody. Look at this, look at this, look at this, bruh. You know how fun it'll be to give back to people, like come up with different games and different, ways to go about it. But I can't do anything. I can't do anything. I'm broke over here. I'm broke over here. Guys, I need some help, man. I need some help. I promise you, I'm gonna do airdrops. Y'all know I'm all about airdrops. I don't need to do this longer. I've done everything I could possibly do. I held myself on break. I wish I had more break so I could be able to get
Let's just get this. Come on.
right now we can do it.
Come on.
I don't know how I'm gonna be able to do it without y'all. So please, if you have any friends, go and make a second account. Even that works. Second account is 1 Drip. You're on my team. Best believe when you're on my team, man. I'm gonna grow my Drip deposit so much. You won't even have to worry about 1 Drip. You're gonna be 10 Drip before you know it. You know what I'm saying? I can't promise you that, but you get the point. You're doing airdrops a lot, very often. So join my team. Get some friends on my team if you can. You can do whatever it takes. Get some people on my team so I can get this Drip. Let's make it exciting, man. Let's make it fun again. Let's make Drip fun again. All right, that's the slogan. I don't have to have, but I'm gonna get a blue hat that says make Drip fun again. Simple as that. So that's basically the whole point of this video, man. I'm young. I like fun. I like crypto. I'm doing it for money, but I also do it for fun. So let's try to make this fun. Let's try to do some airdrops. Let's try to increase some morale. Join my Telegram. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about some fun things about the Drip thing, and let's try to make some money while we're at it too. So if you enjoyed the video, show hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. Join my team. Thank you for watching. Stay on the next one. Peace.
Ooh, baby, cryptocurrency investors just got a big ego boost. Yes, the United States might be creating a digital dollar. President Biden put out an executive order talking about how he wants to start regulating cryptocurrency more, how he wants to start researching cryptocurrency more, and how he wants to potentially create a digital dollar. As soon as he did that, the crypto market rallied. We saw Bitcoin rally more than 10% that same day, but then the very next day,
Yeah, I told this dude about a coin this morning.
Is definitely not the first country to get
He's still waiting on Doge shit. What has Doge done in the last month or something like that? I'm curious. Could he really be like, I'm gonna put my checks into Dogecoin? I'm like, fam, that is so silly. Doge is down 2% today. This other token is up almost 20% today. Today, it's up 17% since I told him about it. I'm like, you just can't help some people.
The executive order essentially says that the government is going to start focusing on 3 things immediately. The first thing is they want to start regulating cryptocurrency, and they want to see how to regulate cryptocurrency the right way. Second, they want to be more competitive in terms of digital assets and digital technologies around the world. And third, they want to work on something called the CBDC, which stands for a central bank digital currency. The United States is thinking about creating a central bank digital currency, aka a digital dollar. But let's start by talking about this first, the regulations. The White House is directing the Treasury Department to go out and start researching cryptocurrency immediately. They want the Treasury Department to go out and start figuring out is cryptocurrency safe or not. And what should the government be doing to regulate cryptocurrency? Now, what should the government do to keep consumers safe? That's what the government is asking the Treasury Department and other sectors to do, because they're essentially trying to figure out what is cryptocurrency, how do we keep people safe, and how should
Bruh, they really are trying to figure out what the fuck cryptocurrency is still. It's so silly. How do these people run the damn country? Oh my god, we're like lost due to that. If the people that ran our country weren't so clueless, we might be somewhere.
Cryptocurrency exchanges for 6 reasons. They want to protect consumers and investors. They want to create financial stability. They want to protect against illicit activity. They want to keep the United States competitive on a global stage. They want to have financial inclusion, and they want to have responsible innovation. We don't know exactly what that means.
Like, what if that wasn't the case? What about if the people running our country actually understood cryptocurrency because they gave it more than just 5 hours of like looking at whoever's hating on it? Like, it's like, bruh, or they listen, like the Elizabeth Warren speech recently, or whatever the heck that hearing, where she just refused to listen to dude. It's like his job is to like learn about this stuff and try to find transactions and stuff. Why won't you pay some attention? What are you doing? Like, step down from power. Good God, we don't need ignorance.
And finally, on the regulatory side, President Biden also said that he's interested in monitoring the energy costs associated with cryptocurrency. Now, we don't know exactly what that means, but when he talks about creating more innovation in cryptocurrency,
oh no, that's a friendly Olympian.
That might affect the ways that you're allowed to mine cryptocurrency and the energy usage of cryptocurrency itself. Second, when it comes to the competitive side, the executive order says that the United States wants to continue to be a leader in financial and technological innovation, which is one of the reasons why now the government wants to start researching cryptocurrency. And that means that in order to compete, not only will the government be doing their own research in cryptocurrency, the blockchain, and digital assets, but they also want to make more agreements with our allies overseas on how to regulate cryptocurrency and what will be adopted as best practice when it comes to cryptocurrency. It sounds like the government is finally starting to get hip with crypto, because what the government says is that they want to be a leading developer of cryptocurrency and they want to be on the cutting edge of blockchain and cryptocurrency. Now, the interesting thing about this is you've had Coinbase, Kraken, and Gemini issue letters talking about why they want to start creating some regulation, because they don't want to be doing things in the dust. They don't want to do things blindly and then have the SEC randomly find them because they did something that the government didn't like. They want to create an open communication system that with the exchanges and the
wouldn't that be wonderful? I mean, like, people just want the simple stuff from the government.
We can have a more inclusive and open cryptocurrency world in the United States and
seriously though.
And then we have the most interesting part of the executive order, which is the CBDC.
Our government's just stupid.
About a central bank digital currency. Now, the executive order did not say that they want to create a digital dollar.
We could like have like just like if our country was actually like trying to innovate and like listen to like all the crazy crazy people in our, not even crazy like that. We got a bunch of geniuses in our Elon Musk and stuff. Like all of our smartest people are invested in it at this point. All of our biggest billionaires and millionaires are invested in it, and we're like, it's probably evil or something, or you know, just bad for the like. Okay, keep the country poor because everybody else is catching up to us.
That will legitimize digital assets. At this point, you're probably wondering what you should be doing and what this means for you. Should you take your whole bank account and dump it into cryptocurrency that way you can ride out the wave? Probably not. But there are 5 things that you should be doing right now. First, you gotta understand what all this would mean. Creating a digital dollar does not mean that Bitcoin is going to go to $100,000. Maybe Bitcoin will go to $100,000, but having a digital dollar is not the reason why that will happen. A digital dollar means that we will have a digital dollar. That means that we will have more legitimacy around digital assets, things like cryptocurrency, which could put more money into cryptocurrency, which could influence the prices of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, but you have to understand what it means. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to directly impact the price of Bitcoin and cause Bitcoin to go to the moon or to Mars when a digital dollar is created.
No other
I'm saying this is
Olympians
because
out there,
number 2, I
great.
want you to invest smartly. This does not mean that you want to take all of your money now and just dump it into cryptocurrency. That way, when the digital dollar comes, you can ride the wave and trade it for a quick profit and then sell all of your money for profit. I want you to be a smart investor. Yes, obviously, having more legitimacy around cryptocurrency will help the values of cryptocurrency. More people will feel comfortable putting their money into cryptocurrency. Having the right regulations will also make people feel more comfortable about investing their money in cryptocurrency. But you have to also be a smart investor, not just a trader that's trading on emotion. You want to be a person that's trading on fundamentals, that's investing in things that you believe in for the long term. Please don't be one of those people that just YOLO your money into cryptocurrency, hoping you get rich because you hope that a digital dollar means that the price of cryptocurrencies are all going to double or triple overnight. Be smart when you do this. If you want to know how to invest your money in cryptocurrency, my team put together an hour-long lesson on how to invest your money in cryptocurrency. It's completely free. It's on our Market Insiders app. It's an investing education app. You can watch the lesson for free on how to invest your money in cryptocurrencies. If you want to watch that lesson, I'll put that link for you down in the description below. In other words, I want you to avoid and be aware of the get rich quick scams out there because there's a lot of scams out there. A lot of people are trying to put their money into the altcoin or the NFT, hoping that they can flip it for a big profit essentially overnight. Be aware of these things. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Be aware of the get rich quick scams. Don't put your money into those things. Sure, you can make a quick profit, but you can just as easily lose all of your money. I want you to be a smart investor and build wealth sustainably, not just gamble your money away. And the easiest way to invest your money, if you're interested in cryptocurrency, is to do something like a dollar cost average system. Where now you're not just trying to perfectly time the market, you're not just trying to buy the dip, because when you're trying to buy the dip, chances are many times you're going to
random
miss
nature
it.
card
Maybe you'll
here,
catch it, maybe you'll catch it.
That thing just seems like, why do they even have this?
Create a dollar cost average system where every month, every week, or every day you're buying some of the cryptocurrency that you like. I have a daily dollar cost average system set up where every single day I buy some Bitcoin, I buy some Ethereum, and then I buy a little bit of some of the smaller coins. Most of my money in my dollar cost average system is going into Bitcoin. Now, if we were to see a major cryptocurrency crash, then I can come in and buy more aggressively of the coins that I like, Bitcoin. But I'm not stressing about the day-to-day swings in cryptocurrency. I'm not stressing about what's happening if it's going up or down, because every single day, whether the market's up or down, I'm buying some cryptocurrency. Now, again, I understand I'm a believer in cryptocurrency. I know this isn't something that I'm just going to hold on to for 6 months or a year. This is a long-term investment that I believe in because I believe in the power of cryptocurrency. So first, if you believe in the power of cryptocurrency, you have to understand it, learn what Bitcoin is, learn what Ethereum is, learn what the blockchain is. If you do that, and you believe in cryptocurrency,
I
then you
like
start buying
need
some of
to
the cryptocurrency.
kill
Start with some of the bigger coins, something like Bitcoin and Ethereum.
some of
Understand
their
that you might lose
cards,
money
bro.
because investing has risks. You're never guaranteed to make money when you invest. Money will lose money. Never blindly listen to a random guy on YouTube, but understand that you might lose money because cryptocurrency is very volatile. It's very speculative. There's a chance that cryptocurrency can go to zero. And then instead of just perfectly trying to time the market, buy in phases. Create a dollar cost average system where now you're buying in phases every week, every day, or every month. You can pick your own system. That way now you buy in phases. You don't have to perfectly try to time the market. And if you see a big crash and you still want to buy, then you can come in and buy more aggressively. There's a lot of different cryptocurrency platforms out there that will let you do this type of dollar cost average system. If you want to see some of the platforms that I use, I'll put the links down for you in the description. But now that you start investing your money in cryptocurrency, you also want to have a smart portfolio, because it's one thing to diversify your money within cryptocurrency, but you also have to understand your broader investment portfolio as well, because what you don't want to do is have 100% of your money in cryptocurrency. Now, I know this strategy has made some people insanely successful. It has made some people insanely rich by people putting all of their money into cryptocurrency, hitting the jackpot, and then seeing a small portfolio grow into the millions of dollars. Yes, it has worked for some people, but you have to remember that is the exception, not the rule. I have a dollar cost average system in cryptocurrency. I also have a dollar cost average system in the stock market, where every week I'm investing money in the stock market. I also have a dollar cost average system for physical gold. Every month I buy some physical gold. I'm also investing in physical real estate. I also have my own business, so I own cryptocurrency. I have some diversification within cryptocurrency, although Bitcoin is the largest player in the cryptocurrency part of my portfolio. But cryptocurrency is just a piece of my entire investment portfolio. That's what you need to understand. If you want to be a sound, fundamental investor, you don't want to have cryptocurrency be 100% of your portfolio, because if it is, and the cryptocurrency market crashes, which we've seen happen many times because cryptocurrency is so volatile, it's so speculative, well then your entire investment portfolio is going to be in the red, and you're going to be panicking, you're going to be stressed, you're going to be anxious. You want to avoid all of that. Make cryptocurrency a piece of your portfolio.
Really
and then
nice
create some
about to hit
diversification
the other
inside the
card.
cryptocurrency portfolio as well. Now, you don't want to dump all your money into altcoins and to the coins that you hope will go 100x in the next 6 months. You want to have some stronger coins, especially if you're just starting off, because if we see a cryptocurrency crash, the ones that are going to fail and go bust and go wiped out are going to be the ones that are smaller, the ones that really don't have that big of a use case, that don't have as much of a network. Now, I know you might fall in love with the cryptocurrency that you have. You might fall in love with the idea of your cryptocurrency going to the moon or going to Mars. But if it's not doing that, you don't want to just keep going down with the ship if the cryptocurrency is about to go bust. You have to be smart. You need to separate your financials from your emotions, and you want to be a smart investor. That's the person who's going to win 9 out of 10 times. 1 out of 10 times is going to be the person who gets lucky that just YOLOs their money into the next hot crypto, into the next hot stock. Sure, it happens once in a while, but the rule is different than the exception. I'd rather you put your money where the odds are, and if you like the idea of investing in cryptocurrency, understand how it plays a part in your portfolio instead of making it your entire portfolio. If you enjoyed this video, here's a masterclass on cryptocurrency that I think you'll love, and if you want to get my free lesson on investing your money in cryptocurrency,
that goblet's about to hurt.
no, thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling. Everybody prior to the year 2000 thought that the internet was the future, and that you would never lose money with the internet because everything with the word
Tyler S. That's what this sounds like. This man always has this type of sound. Either that or Crypto Zombie, and I think it's Tyler S.
Right now, the baby bears are squealing like little piggies as Bitcoin and many altcoins continue to see itsy-bitsy pumpage across the markets, while the SPX continues to climb above all key daily moving averages and closes in on the 50 weekly moving average. The bears right now are wiping their tears with the crusty socks underneath their beds that only a few months ago they were using to celebrate inside of. And with Bitcoin in the broader market potentially on the verge of their biggest breakouts in summer of 2021, when your mother was out by the pool in her bikini waiting for the neighborhood boys to come and pay her a little extra attention, if you know what I mean, while you were in the basement staring at charts thinking about how much your mom would love you if you accomplished just one thing in your life. It seems as though it's time for the basement baby moon boys to bust once and for all. Gross.
Sorry,
As the Bitcoin
game.
boys wait patiently for a green god candle so they can quit their jobs posing as women on OnlyFans for extra cash. Will the Bitcoin boys walk away as millionaire baby boy geniuses, or will they walk away with their cheeks glued tight and shut, tightly shut after a fake out breakout? Mommy make out confirmed. Altcoins trading, securing your crypto, or staking your ADA with our pool. Make sure to check out links below. I have one Twitter, one Instagram. I have to say that every video because every single day I get messages from you guys saying, "Hey, is this you?" And it's never me. My only accounts are in the description below. And without any further ado, let's make it absolutely bigger than your mother's desire to go back in time and purchase Plan B. And I'm not talking about Bitcoin.
Oh my God.
Absolutely very big. So guys, very big things going on with crypto today. In fact, Bitcoin is right around 45K as we've been talking about, exited this very tight consolidation of the past 2 months. Potentially symmetrical triangle. Many people are charting it also as a.
Why do they have so many
triangle.
nature cards? What is this about? Why does I feel like Deception got to use a lot of nature?
As we're about to see this cross.
Wars get to use a lot of nature. Why is everybody allowed to use so many nature cards?
Action. Even if that means afterwards we might go down. I have no idea. Nobody has any idea. That's too far in the future. But right now, the technicals are showing that it's very, very likely that we are going to see some relief over the next couple of months. That doesn't mean by tomorrow. That doesn't mean by Sunday. Just, again, this is a waiting game. We've been talking about this curvature up since it really started at the end of January. So it's been many months in the making. And even before that, right, when we saw this curve downwards and we thought, okay, well, this isn't going to be that fun. And it truly was not in terms of the price action getting dumpy. However, on these macro charts, guys, everything helps. So that's very good. And before we actually get into the short-term price action with Bitcoin, let's take a sneak peek here. Bitcoin on the verge of a major breakout. And what else is happening in crypto today? So Bitcoin and other cryptos moved higher today on Friday, getting a boost from accelerating its institutional adoption and a return of appetite for risk among investors in wider markets. And again, I ask you this question. If the appetite for risk continues to increase and we get rid of some of the uncertainty around the world and macroeconomically, what do you think people are going to be looking to first? I think it's very clear that anybody with even 5 minutes worth of knowledge over the past year of what looks exciting and promising for the future, it would be Bitcoin. Meaning, if people get a risk or an appetite for risk, if investors get an appetite for risk, then they will be looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and just some of these top altcoins and crypto as a whole, the entire sector here. Bitcoin's on the verge of a major breakout as the price is on course to test 45K. So this article was written before we actually tested 45K, which we have, but it has been very strong resistance since January here. And yeah, that doesn't mean we're going to break 45 once and for all here, but we got another test, which is important. It's all about which way the price action is pushing. Even though there are lots of ups and downs, usually if Bitcoin makes one big push in a day, then it doesn't really make a push until the next day, right? There's not usually a ton of pushes in the same day. Like for example, yesterday, we saw Bitcoin push against 44 and we broke 44, and now we saw it push against 45. So and you can see it kind of just incrementally happening. It's not like it just went up thousands of dollars all at once. You see over the past week, this has been a slow progression, even just over the last few days, a couple $1,000 or about $1,000 each day so far. And usually again breakouts start off like that, like with these smaller moves before they turn even into bigger moves. So again, even if we topped out for the day today, that wouldn't be a bad thing. 45 is a milestone today over the last 24 hours. I think is very good here. But Hasegawa at BitBank also said that the funding rate for continuous contract futures plunged in the negative territory, signaling that significant positions have been accumulated by short sellers. So people looking to short Bitcoin, we've seen those positions open, and the accumulation of the short positions could result in a cascade of short covering in case of breakout, which in turn could push up the price significantly, aka a short squeeze, basically. The upper price
They
target
could
is
have some
50,000, so it takes a lot of level.
ridiculous
And if it fails to
card
test 45, which
over
has
there.
already tested 45,
Right.
again, another pullback to 42 is not another card at all. And that could happen within an hour of this. So that's not a bad thing. The point is we see the price action picking a direction day after day. And what that direction looks like so far is to the upside. And as well, very good news here. European crypto regulatory framework goes to three-way consideration without proof of work ban. So there was a prospect of cryptos that use proof of work making a way to the European Digital Asset Directive appearing. Basically, there doesn't seem to be any negative ramifications in European law that could come out of this against proof of work, which is good. We don't want any very harmful regulation in the EU, in the US, anywhere, right? And it doesn't really seem to be shaping up that way. So again, this is good news, just very small. Like the deadline was actually yesterday, the 24th, and it was the last day when the European Parliament could stop the current draft of the markets in crypto assets or MiCA from proceeding to further consideration. And as well, two things I want to talk about real quick.
Just hold on to that god power.
I'm tired of reading experts and special analysts in the market. You can't read the market. You can get lucky or get burned. And he made a pretty good point here. I believe that technical analysis can be helpful from time to time, but it cannot predict the market. That's true. TA cannot predict China banning Bitcoin for the 1000th time. It cannot predict a war. It cannot predict executive orders. It can't predict those things, right? And it's not supposed to. The point of TA is to give you a framework and to be used as a tool to.
Oh, I thought I said 2 damage. Why is everything dead?
Not right? If you had a tool that could make you 5% more successful at something, that doesn't guarantee you're going to be successful. But if you use that as a tool, why would you not use that? You want to use every single thing that can give you the smallest advantage. And if you do that with many different things, one of them including TA, then you just have a smaller, incrementally built foundation of which you can increase your chance of success. Right? So there's nothing you can guarantee 100% you're going to be successful at unless you're born like a trust fund baby and your dad or mom can just buy you everything and buy you positions and buy you power. That's kind of like the only 100% chance. Although even with that, you could just get in a car crash and die, so there's no guarantee with that either. There's no guarantee of anything. But the point is, every little tool you can use to increase your chance of succeeding, why would you not use it? And that's what TA is, right? So it's silly. Yeah, I mean, their post is accurate, I think. So yeah, and also crypto trading is dominated by young men, particularly those under the age of 30. As I've shown before, I think about a month ago, I posted my analytics on this channel. 93% of my audience is male between the age of 25 and 45. So that's like most of my audience. And that number is not just mine. People in the comments thought that because I make mommy jokes, that's why I have that audience. If you go across YouTube and crypto analytics in general, that's just what the demographic is. Before I even made jokes, I had a channel for 2 years with the same analytics. And if you ask any of the other big channels too, like that's literally what it is. It's mostly men. And this does talk about overconfidence, meaning men tend to get more overconfident, which lends itself to like gambling or trading or investing, whatever, which are all kind of synonymous anyway. Gambling, trading, investing are all basically the same thing. Let's be honest. You can try to differentiate that, but at the end of the day, they're very, very, very similar. Yes, there are differences, but at the end of the day, we're trying to make money, and we are, it's not as different as I think a lot of people would like to portray it as. But yeah, I think this is interesting. And again, around age 30, where you can risk a lot, and if you lose it, yeah, you're still young enough where you can kind of make some back. You still have a fair amount of life ahead of you. Ideally. But yeah, I do think it's very important for women to get more into crypto. Mainly the big Twitter. Well, never mind. I won't say that. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to open a can of worms here. But yeah, so we have 45,000 as Bitcoin's current target here as we've been slowly inching out of this level. Obviously breaking the previous high, the lower high around 45.4 to round up just by $100. Very important. And then slightly above that was around 46. So we're very close. And it would be beautiful to see that today. There's no guarantee it'll be today, but again, just something I think is a lot of people are watching for. And as well on this weekly chart, we still see this 50 going potentially below the 200-day moving average. Or sorry, the 21 going below 50.
Can I get another canopy sniper?
That we're going to see a relief here. And again, these are
I'd like to make another
momentum swing. Also using moving averages for this indicator, like that's what it's made with. So overall, looking pretty good. And yeah, SPX climbing as well is helping Bitcoin and altcoins.
I'd actually be happy with half
So
of that.
yeah, again, I still believe
that would be okay with
this is slowly going to turn into some type of relief, even if it is short term. But I personally think like minimum we'll see 50,000 before this rally ends, and that's not even saying that much. That's not. I mean, what is that like? That would be like another 12% pump, which would barely be a pump, to be honest. If we had this downtrend going like over 50% to the downside, and then from the low of there only pumping
help
another
that
50%
Amazon
upside, which again, how
happens.
percentages work. If it drops 50% and then goes up 50%, that does not take you to what it was before it dropped 50%, right? Dropping 50% from 69, nice, takes you to about 33, and then pumping from 33 up to 50% only takes you back to about 51. It does not take you back to that original one, right? Because percentages work differently depending on which direction it goes. If you're using the show, daily subscriptions, after 10 cents alert below, getting bonuses, deals, getting altcoins, trading, securing crypto, joining our pool. Make sure to check out all the links below, and as well as one Twitter and one Instagram. The rest are all fake accounts. And thanks for the review. That's it.
All right, so I'd like to show you how I've been using free software to generate, I don't know, maybe $380, $380, $390. Yesterday was 306, day before that was 352, day before that was 305, day before that was 296, day before that was 232. Today's day 9, so just 9 days into using this, and I've gone from the first day I used it was 106 I earned. Day 8 was 30, I have two screens here trying to look around. Day 8 was 306, and basically I've been earning, this is just me now, I'm not saying this is going to happen for you, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not an investment advisor, don't take any of this as advice, I'm just sharing my experience. Maybe some other people out there have been looking at this sort of thing, and they're just kind of wondering about it, and so I'm trying to put out my experience. I can't do it every day, I was trying to do it every day, so I could share with people what was happening with this. So if this is something you decide to get involved with, don't do it because I told you to, because I'm not recommending it. I'm not recommending it, I'm just showing you what's happening for me. Okay, so anything that you do is all on you. If you take any risk, that's all on you. If you put money into something and it doesn't go the way that you want it to, well, that's up to you, that's your risk, right? Not my risk. So past performance doesn't necessarily predict future performance, and there are no guarantees, but it's possible. So for me, this is what I'm looking at so far. The day's not done, so this will probably be around 370 to 380, something like that by the time the day is done. This is my funding day. This is 24 hours later. I started with this balance. Now's where this balance is. The total account growth in 9 days has been 63%. May not happen for you. I don't know. I don't know what's happening for other people except for one person. I'm just kind of paying attention to what I'm doing. So this is my daily account growth. First day it grew 3.1%, next day 2.9, and so on. Today so far it's at 6.6. So the people who introduced me to this said it was earning about 3.6 per day. I said that's pretty darn good, considering I'm impressed with just 15 or 20% a month. Most of you I could talk to a financial advisor, they're impressed with 15% per year. So I thought I'd just test it, and I'm running a test, and I'm showing you the results of the test, okay? I don't work for these people, I don't own this company, I don't know a whole lot about it, other than what we do on a daily basis. Now I've got, what, I don't know, today's day 9, so I've got 8 days, at least 7 other videos where I've done showing you results here. What I want to do now, let me refresh this page. This is a free software. I don't know why, it never occurred to me to mention that before, but
they got 2 of those right away.
How much is the software? Nothing, it doesn't cost anything. You do need some capital to work with. The minimum amount of capital you would need to work with would be $9. How much return would you get from $9 profit-wise on $9? Well, not very much, but you could compound it and let it add up. I probably, if I were going to advise someone on this, which I'm not, but if I were going to, I would say you're probably looking at a few $100 at the minimum if you're going to do such a thing. And maybe if a few $100 is a problem for you, maybe you don't need to be risking money. I mean, I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but that's a decision you have to make. All I can do is show you what's happening for me, and that's what's happening for me. Your results could be different. This may be exceptional, not typical. In a second here, I'm going to run through this. But basically, I have total assets in here. This is in USDT. And what this software does is it's a crypto arbitrage locator and deal executor, basically, is the way I see it. It searches across crypto exchanges all over the world. It finds price mismatches for a particular coin. It looks at what your budget is that you have available here. It figures out how much of that coin you could buy at the lower price and resell at the higher price on a different exchange. And it shows it to you, and it says, do you want to do this or not? And you click to sell, and you click confirm. So you have to double confirm it. And then it takes about 2 hours for it to resolve everything, reconcile all the reporting, and finalize the transactions. And done.
Wow.
The differences between those prices, you keep, I don't know if you keep the whole difference. I think they're keeping some of it as a fee, but whatever that is all factored in. And you see what the profit's going to be on it before you click confirm. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, and I can't believe it's free. I mean, it's really astounding. A human being couldn't do this. It's just not fast enough. You couldn't work with enough data fast enough. So I can only assume that whoever put this together, just like any over-the-counter broker, just like any crypto exchange or crypto wallet, every time you make a trade, there's a fee. Every time you go in and out, there's a fee. Sometimes it's small, but they do hundreds of thousands of millions of these a day, and they get paid. It gives us a chance to participate in the arbitrage game, the arbitrage business, with crypto as the product. And you don't have to be rich. You don't have to pay a huge development team to set this stuff up. The software is free. You just need the capital to fund it. The big difference between this and most home businesses, because most home businesses you have to come out of pocket and buy a kit and stock inventory, things like that, right? It's expense. This is not. I mean, if you put capital into this to use it, it's your capital. It's not going anywhere. I mean, I can't promise you there's no risk. I maybe don't even know what all the risks are, but you're just doing arbitrage on price differences for crypto. I don't know what other than possibly the risk of the people who own the company disappearing and becoming criminals and living as fugitives the rest of their lives. I don't really know what the big risk would be here. I'm not a risk analysis expert. Don't listen to me. I'm just sharing with you my viewpoint. You seek your own financial and investment advice from a professional if you want that sort of thing. I'm gonna refresh this page. And what's happening is the funds from previous transactions, still $22 left.
I'm saying no. You can do this, the same thing he's talking about.
All those funds will be back here in my wallet balance.
Yourself.
And then to run through and place more orders. Look at more
As
orders.
he's saying also, it's a little harder to do yourself. But
I have a laptop right here.
I would rather do that than download. You don't download shit in crypto. It's not what you do.
Today, we got a banger for you. If you're familiar with the drip network and hex, then this will make perfect sense. If not, well, I'm about to break it down for you. If you've been lurking around the blockchain, then you know that DeFi 3.0 and all of these auto compounding rebasing directly into your wallet tokens are all the rage right now. And for good reason. These protocols make it easy for anyone to participate in DeFi without having to fully understand the process of adding liquidity to a DEX and then staking your LP tokens. All you have to do is hold the tokens in your wallet and you earn daily compounded interest that grows your balance exponentially. So let's get into the project. Today, I'm talking about Libero Financial. They are positioning themselves to lead a revolution in DeFi. And it's also becoming one of the top projects at my fleet of money printers. It's a fork of the Titano protocol with a ton of added features and mechanics to make it stand out in the legal zone. Let's talk about the security. Libero is fully audited by Circuit, which is a leading smart contract auditor in the space. They've also been audited in KYC by the Thorium team, as well as audited by Rug Free Coin, and the liquidity has been locked for a year on DX Lock, which you can view in all the docs. Let's talk about the mechanics. Libero's given giving us a juicy daily APR of 2.04% that auto compounds every 30 minutes directly into your wallet. All you have to do is hold the token. That's just it. Set it and forget it, and you earn a daily passive income of 2.04% a day, which is straight fire by itself. But what makes Libero so dope and highly sustainable is the Libero Bank. This is a game changer and can allow you to more than 20x your initial capital with just a little bit of delayed gratification. As I always say, there are 3 ways you can play crypto. You can play it like checkers, you can play it like chess, or you can play it like a straight up crapshoot. Up to you. Personally, I like to play it like chess and play a few moves ahead. The Libero Bank is a chess move that will allow you to come out miles ahead. Let's dive into the Libero Bank and my strategy. The Libero Bank allows you to lock up your Libero tokens for 1 day up to 4 years. You will receive the X Libero token as a placeholder for your lock tokens based on the amount of time which you lock them up. You will receive about 1.5% interest paid out daily in the form of the Libero token and BUSD. Almost all users in the chat would agree that if you are going to lock up your tokens, you should definitely lock them up for 4 years. Now, before you guys for air and holler out 4 years, here's why it's the chess move. If you do the 4-year lock, you will earn your initial investment back in about 66 days based on the interest paid out from the bank. You will then earn 2.04% interest daily on that original amount, and then every 66 days you will receive your initial investment back for the next 4 years, which you will also earn 2.04% daily interest on as well. Now, let me say that again just in case it doesn't make sense. I'll give you an example assuming the price stays the same. Like I said, right here, you will get back 100% of your locked Libero amount after 66 days if you lock for 4 years. So let's say, for example, you locked up $1,000 in the bank for 4 years. In about 66 days, you will have earned back your initial $1,000, which the interest is paid out. And then you can claim that and let that $1,000 sit in your wallet and earn 2.04% interest daily. But on top of that, every 66 days, you will still earn that $1,000 from the bank for the next 4 years, which you can also claim to your wallet and earn 2.04% daily interest payments. And then at the end of the 4 years, you will also get your original $1,000 back that you locked up. That's a grandmaster chess move. You have essentially set yourself up for 4 years of free money coming in with just a little delayed gratification. I mean, think about it. People in Drip are locking their capital up forever for 1% a day with a 365% max payout. People in Hex are locking their capital up for 15 years with only a 40% yearly interest rate. So, in my opinion, the Libero Bank is a no-brainer. And they're rolling out some new use cases with the W Libero, short for Rap Libero. What this is, they're going to allow you to take your Libero tokens and use them in other yield forms to earn extra money while it's still auto-compounding at 2.04% daily, giving you double rewards. This is scheduled to go live in April, so you can read more about it in the docs. So let's talk about how they plan on keeping this thing sustained. First off, the bank has almost 2 billion tokens locked up. That's almost $20 million locked up right there. Also, there's a weekly automatic hyper burn that they burn 2 to 4% of the total supply every single week. As you can see, the next burn right now is about $1.2 million already. There is a transfer tax of 13% of buys and 20% of sales, which 5% of buys and 10% of sales are sent to the farming wallet, where they use those funds to earn money with other investments, which then are used to support the token price. You can see the farming wallets right here and what they're doing with the money. You can always click on this and do everything. It's all on chain. They have a lot of other features and mechanics for sustainability that you can read about in the white paper as well. All in all, I'm definitely bullish on this project. I'm already making gains. Just look at my account. My initial investment that I locked of 293,190 Libero tokens. I'm already at a little over 10% ROI, and it hasn't even been 7 days yet. That's because the Libero that I earn from the bank, I claim it directly to my wallet, so it immediately starts earning 2.04%. And my BUSD rewards, I compound those into Libero as well, which those also start earning interest in my wallet. So my ROI should be more like 40 days and not the 66 days, because the 66 days is if you don't claim it to your wallet and let it sit there in the bank and add up. And as an added cherry on top, they have a nice referral program that goes 5 levels deep. So anyone you refer who locks a Libero up in the Libero bank, you will receive
I do have some Libero. I just got it myself. Like, I hadn't heard anybody talk about it. I was just like, seems like a smart token to have. Forex mentioned part of the project one time, and I was like, let me do my research on this thing.
Libero bank definitely have a lot to offer, and it's definitely worth a look. Now, like I always do at this time, I'm not your financial advisor, and I sure ain't your daddy. So the only advice I'm gonna give you, do your own research, watch the videos, read the white papers, and make your own damn decision on what to do with your own damn money, because that ain't none of my damn business. Links in the description. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Best Business Show. This is Best as we said so. I'm here with just one brother, Joe. Joe's here. John is not. Iron Man John did not make it. All right, John's on a little trip. He'll be back on Monday. We had a special surprise for all of you. We had Sophia. She was here literally 45 seconds ago.
Oh, wow.
Surprise. And then she started to scream, and she got fired. Over. Gone. Can't have screaming on the show. I told her the rules. She didn't follow the rules. Ejected. Joe, by the way, was the cause of her crying.
That's literally not
She
true.
was literally been in the office for an hour.
She was cool with me.
Chilling with her dad. No issues. Joe showed up 3 minutes ago. And when Joe showed up, she started screaming.
Do you just like see how many lies you can say in one
How
sentence?
long ago did you show up? 5 minutes ago.
So not 3 minutes ago.
Was she calm when you got here?
Yes.
Did she leave crying within 5 minutes of you getting here?
You're leaving out the part of where I told her she was cool. I gave her back to you. She was cool for 2 or 3 minutes, and then she started crying. Had nothing to do with it.
None of that is true.
I hope everyone's having a fantastic Friday, though.
Do you really hope that, or are you just saying that because you feel like you want to change the subject?
No, for sure. I really hope everyone has a great day. Why wouldn't I?
That's fine. Well, I mean, Bitcoin $45,000. Just hit it multiple times. Just going ham.
Ramming up against the wall.
Yeah.
Trying to break through it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, broke through, then broke back, then broke through, then broke back. Yeah. I mean, that's the game. If any of you didn't know, mainstream media, one of their favorite things to talk about right now is that why is Bitcoin going up? Like, there's geopolitical instability. We should try to figure out what's going on. It's not a safe haven asset. And then it's up 30% since Russia invaded Ukraine. That's more than the stock market. Hey, facts.
A lot of haters out there.
A lot of haters. The only thing that's bad about Bitcoin, like somebody asked me like a critique of Bitcoin, I would say, a lot of good things, obviously, but one of the issues is, that meme where little kid got all the stacks of cash over his ears? I can't hear you! You can't do that with Bitcoin. It's digital. That's one of the downsides.
You know what, too? Part of the problem is that, especially people that do not do it for a living, they lack the ability to like separate Bitcoin from other things, and like legit cryptos versus things that aren't, and they basically pull them all together and like, oh, it's all scam, like you're gonna lose money, they're just trying to do all this. Like, I've seen
Shiba, bro.
Yeah,
Shiba,
like,
brother.
Just, like, have some critical thinking skills to be able to determine for yourself what is important and valuable and what's not.
I think that politicians, before they go to hearings, they should take a quiz. 5-question quiz. If you can't answer these 5 questions, you're not allowed to ask Who's creating the quiz? You? Huh? You want to create it? No, I think that the person being interviewed. Like when they call social media companies in and CEO, okay, call social media CEO in there. He gets to create a 5-question quiz. If you can't pass the quiz with no help, you can't ask questions.
Yeah, and they're not going to be like,
They're not crazy questions, but like basic understanding. Simple question. Do you know that Instagram and Finsta are the same?
Yeah, I was trying to think of one that was all time. That was
like, if you don't know that, you can't ask questions, right? Second one is, do you know that the CEO of Twitter is unaware of how the Facebook algorithm works?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm like super simple stuff. If you don't know those things, you can't ask questions. Second thing, if you're a journalist and you write a piece about something, you should, one, if you're writing about any other alternative currency, you should have to disclose that you have US dollars. Huge problem. You're holding a competitive store value, competitive currency, you don't disclose it, conflict of interest. Second is that you should have to be able to, before being put on the crypto beat, be able to pass some sort of 5-10 question quiz. And some of the things I see written. Actually, can we pull up the chart, the Goldman chart? Did you see this yet? No. Oh, bro, you're gonna lose your mind. I love that you showed up 5 minutes ago because you don't have any prep, you don't know any of this. Wait till you see this chart. Goldman Sachs posted this. You see the blue line? That's Bitcoin holders with at least 0.01 Bitcoin or more in their wallet. The blue line or the black line is Ethereum. Ready? That sounds cool.
Yep.
They're comparing $400 worth of Bitcoin in a wallet to $30 of Ethereum in the wallet.
Yeah, it's all
like, hey, maybe whoever wrote this, you're out. You're not allowed to conduct any sort of research.
Yeah.
Because it's telling a narrative. They're like spinning it into something that's
Yeah,
not.
it's obviously
like
confusing.
prime example.
The other one is when they do the cumulative charts, right, where it counts total addresses or whatever it is, and it's like
They're like, it's going up.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, yeah, like literally it's additive.
You can't go back.
Yeah.
All right, SoFi.com/pomp. Make sure you go to SoFi but actually don't go to SoFi.com/pomp. Go to SoFi.com/BTC sweeps pomp. I think in the next couple of days they're gonna pick who the winners. One person, 3 friends, get a flight, get tickets to the Bitcoin conference, get tickets to the official after party at Live nightclub, and we get to come to the breakfast with us on Saturday morning. The Darty, the drunk, what do they call it? Hangover brunch, drunk brunch, whatever. Darty. I will not be drinking, but I just want everyone else to know you could drink if you wanted. We'll have mimosas, Bloody Marys, water. I'll be drinking. They got it all there.
I do. This is a very simpleton thought in some degree, but I back to your point about like the credentials to be able to talk about something or interview someone on something or write about something. It is crazy. You don't really think about it when you're first starting to try to educate yourself on things or when you're growing up or when you're younger. But like when you get older, you start to realize you're like, wait, some of the people that are writing about these things were writing about something completely different earlier, right? Maybe they didn't even have a job that was in journalism previously, right? And now they're writing about they're supposed to be a crypto expert or whatever it is, right? And industries change, they new ones are born. So ultimately, like some these people have to come from somewhere. But you start to realize like there's multiple publications out there that are considered of the highest regard that literally will just hire someone random and be like, you now report on this, and they'll be seen as the expert and give opinion pieces that are not labeled as opinion pieces, and it can be very confusing to people who are interested in it or trying to learn more about it because it's an opinion that's not necessarily well educated and it's formed as being an expert. So I think that I agree that people should have to take, I don't know if it's a quiz or whatever it is, but they should at least have to show some kind of baseline education around these topics.
I am almost positive that there is less than a 10% chance that majority of the politicians could pass a like regular test on how the financial system works.
Yeah, I agree with that, but so that's certainly a problem. I agree. I think that's an issue. The problem I'm speaking about is like people who are pitched as experts on these issues, right, and do not have education around it, right?
There's no experts.
Well, I agree with that.
Why did they get a card from my hand?
Like I said, there's publications out there that are trying to start to cover these topics, which I think is important. But ultimately, they're basically just handpicking people from other arenas and saying, "Hey, go cover."
You know what we should do on the show? What we should do moving forward? If you come on and you have an opinion, you either gotta have skin in the game or you're not allowed to say the opinion.
Yeah.
Like when people come on and they want to talk about something, like, oh, cool, you think something's not gonna work? Short it now. Like right now, live on the show. If you won't go short, then you can't say that opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, like, aren't you willing to short it?
Yeah. Well, I won't actually want to do that because then we have to short a lot of shit.
Yeah. Well, you run out of cash at some point. You feel like I'm just shorting everything.
I'll never.
Really? I'm already out of cash.
Good answer. All right, now.
Yes.
Western Rise. WesternRise.com. Go there. Best sweatpants in the world. Joe, why don't you go ahead and tell us about the Western Rise shirts?
Y'all hear about this? You see this right here? You just try to Steve Nash me and just throw me the assist. Western Nash.
It's called Western Rise, not Western.
Yeah, I got all confused.
A little hard to do.
Yeah, there's some flying at me. There's some flying at me while I'm trying to talk, and then I was coming with my comeback, which was going to be Randy Moss. I was going to yell it as I caught it, but whatever. Western
But
Rise.
you can't think of your comeback after the fact.
No,
I was going to say.
I was thinking about it while I was in air, and that's when I started saying Bitcoin. But Western Rise, the best clothes there are. They got sweatpants, they got shirts, they got everything. Hoodies, I got a hoodie from them. It's extremely comfortable. Go to Western Rise, 20% discount with code BBS at westernrise.com.
Oh,
I wear them
man,
all the time.
things
I got
fuck
sweatpants,
me
shirt,
up.
the hoodie, everything. Go check it out.
The hoodie is very good.
I like the hoodie.
You got the one with the drawstrings?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, super comfortable.
Yeah.
Had to get a second one though. I made a big
Jesus.
mistake.
What was the mistake?
I shrunk it up a little bit. Like I didn't realize what I was.
Bro, you're supposed to say I've been in the gym. My muscles got too big.
No. I did something on like extra high heat. I realized what I was doing. I made a mistake.
Bro, you know what we call that? Rookie mistake.
Yeah,
That's a rookie move. First time you used the washer and dryer?
I've been doing my own laundry since I was like
12. Yeah, that is true. My mom did.
She
That was
said,
the one
"I ain't
thing.
doing no
She said, I
laundry."
ain't doing y'all's laundry, y'all smelly ass kids. So I'm gonna teach you. That's like one of the first things I ever remember my mom teaching me was literally like, this is how you do the laundry. And then there was a bunch of mess ups in there.
No, but the bad part for her was then we'd be doing laundry every day. Because I'd be like, yo, I like these clothes. I'm gonna wear them again. She'd be like, what are you doing? We'd just be doing laundry all the time.
Legitimately, that is what happened. She went.
But it is kind of bad because I knew in college, I knew kids that got to college, they never done laundry in their life, and like they didn't know how to use machines, they didn't know how to do anything. I'm like,
You know what I did in college? What? I just had them come pick it up.
what? No,
I was like, damn, there was a service in like you know on college campus how there's like the like not bears, like the what do they call it, the dorms, and then there's like always like that one building that's like super nice, the brand new one, whatever.
Yeah.
In college, that one place, they had all kinds of like services or whatever, and I used to always think like, yeah, I bet you they just put their laundry outside, so I grabs it, whatever.
Yeah.
And so later on in time, I invested in 2U Laundry, because that's how they got started.
Oh, they were doing that
In college, they were at
colleges?
Wake Forest. What they did is they would tell people leave a bag of laundry outside, and it was like a static line. They'd come to take it all up on the same day, and they'd go, they do the laundry, and they bring it back and do that at your door, fold it.
Yeah, there was some.
In New York, they have it too. You could like drop your laundry off, they wash it, fold it for you, but it's pretty expensive.
Oh, it is expensive. Yeah, there
But
was
a lot of people don't have washer dryer in their units, right? In some of the
Yeah, you have to go somewhere else. They're doing that now with like there was a they were giving out free tacos in the lobby of the apartment the other day, and so I go down there and I'm like, all right, let's try these free tacos. What's the deal here? So actually, I went and got some tacos, a beer too, and
You drink?
every once in a while, you know. Hey, had a beer, a couple tacos. I got 2 tacos. I went back. I was like, hey, can I get a third? Like, you know, I'm kind of hungry. She was like, no, we only got 2. But
Well, the point of the story was you got punked in your own pretty much apartment building. It was free. So, but then they were trying to get us to sign up for nothing is free. They're trying to get us to sign up.
Nothing is free.
Yeah, so they're trying to get us to sign up for this service. I forget what it's called.
A credit card?
No, they essentially do the same thing though, which is you put a bag outside your door and they come every week and they refill it with like paper towels. They'll do like the basics basically. And I was like, is this really necessary? Like, I don't think that's necessary.
Have they heard of Amazon?
Yeah, there's like their whole thing is that it's you don't actually. So I don't know if this is good or I mean it's good for the environment. I guess they're saying, but like you don't use the you give back the bottles and they like refill them, so they all look the same. Like it's not name brand. I don't know what they're getting this shit from. Maybe it is. They're probably buying it at the store. No, like cleaning supplies or whatever. But you give them the
How
bottle.
much Windex y'all going through down there?
No, but I mean it's whatever. And then you give them the stuff back. So like you can order food too. Like you can get pasta sauce and you put the can back in the thing and then they refill it. Bro, I'm like, yo, this is.
I'm cool with the environment. Me and the environment are cool. I'm not giving you back the pasta bottle so you can put more pasta in it.
Yeah,
or
like,
sauce
you're
or
trying to
whatever.
save the environment.
Did you see the politician who drinks out of a syrup bottle?
No.
Did y'all see this? There's
I can't be real.
I swear to God. Hold on. Will Clement is coming on at 11:15. Let's do a little Mufasa while I pull this up real quick. Play a little Mufasa.
Hey, Ken, hang on here. I gotta go. None of real content. We got Will coming on in a minute. All right, buddy? Mufasa in the meantime. They're saying in the chat that John's not here because he's chilling with Mufasa.
Johnny! Nah, John's only. Spin.
Hey, yeah, this guy's special right here. John walking into the hotel yesterday.
Hey, John shows up where he is. And he's like, you know me? Y'all know me? Let me bounce for you. And then right here, he's like, hello.
John listens to John works out.
John. That's what John does. This when he works out.
Johnny Pop. I'm doing that at Live. At Live with a couple lucky winners.
Let's go. Walk it out. All right. Great. You guys thought you Mufasa picks. I'm still doing nothing for you. Cousin Skeeter, shout out to you. All right. So here's the story real quick. This is back from 2 years ago. I knew that I knew this. There's a Tennessee lawmaker. He drinks out of a Hershey syrup bottle. This is real life.
You got a picture?
Yeah, we're gonna pull it up. So people wanted to know at first what the hell's in the bottle. He's drinking like this photo we got. He's in like a suit and tie on the like congressional floor. He's drinking out of a syrup bottle, bro.
Stop, dude.
I swear to God, when you see this, you're gonna freak out.
Can't wait.
Oh, hold on a second. We got pop-ups.
We got pop-ups.
Here we go. Look at him. Get out of here. My guy drinks out of a syrup bottle on the floor. Look at him from Tennessee.
Bro, there's gotta be a story here.
So this is what he says. He says it's a repurposed syrup bottle that I drink my water out of. That's his water bottle, bro. That's his water bottle. He goes, I'm not gonna buy a $25 or $35 or $45 water bottle that's not worth what it costs because I'll probably put it down and leave it somewhere. Recycle everything, said he and his wife. I was fixing to put it in the plastic recycling one day at home, and I thought, shoot, I could put water in that.
Get the hell out of here. This is for show. 1,000%.
I swear to God.
Dude.
He says he keeps it in the drawer at his desk in the front of the house chamber and refills it with water. Never with liquor, he swears. Which he stopped drinking in December of 1978. He says he hasn't drank since 1978. And more importantly, though, the question of whether he actually ever has consumed Hershey syrup from the bottle. He says, I don't know that I've ever drank chocolate syrup. He does, however, like to take a spoonful of Nesquik and wash it down with a sip of milk rather than mixing it in.
I mean, I'm all for, again, recycling, all that thing. I'm cool with that. No problems. But first off, he's scared he's gonna lose his water bottle, but he can maintain this thing. Right?
Bro, that's his water bottle.
No, I know, but he said he's scared of losing a real one.
Tell me that I am not a connoisseur. I'm the king of the internet, I think. When you know this off the top of your head, like, man, where is this? And you can remember
this guy's name
2
years ago.
They had 8
Tennessee's
names.
you gotta get him on the show.
We do need Ken Cal.
I'm gonna start drinking. You know what I should do next week is on Monday we should show up with those bottles and see what John says. We just pull them out, we sit them on the desk and start drinking out of them. John will lose his mind. John will be like, what are y'all doing?
Like, all right, what are you doing?
Just act like it's syrup.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they have. He didn't have a Twitter account. If he didn't have Twitter, we're gonna be unable to contact him.
Unless anyone knows anyone in his office.
Yeah, I don't have a smoke signal machine.
Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna get all day.
Why did we think that he had a Twitter account when he didn't even have a water bottle?
Yeah, I mean that seems like it's more for show than it is for use, but whatever. More power to him.
No, dude, he's straight up. That's his.
I understand, but why can't he get a regular water bottle like the rest of us? That's $5, not $40, and not lose that one. He seems to keep good track of his chocolate one here. That's plastic, by the way.
All right, real quick before we bring Will on, I also got to show you this. This is all time. We're gonna pull up a video. So right now, Max Kaiser and Stacy are in El Salvador, and not only are they there, but so is Samson Mao, who is the kind of some of the brains behind the El Salvador volcano bonds.
Yeah.
Bro, they balling around this whole country.
What are they doing?
This video, they got a helicopter. Look, and bro, look at them. And they're coming out. Wait till you see what happens. They're in the middle of nowhere. This is at the geothermal thing. Look at bro, they got paparazzi showing up as they're coming out of the helicopter at the geothermal facility in El Salvador. And look at Samson Mao and Max Kaiser just, well, we run this shit.
That is absolutely.
Look at the paparazzi.
They got the strut going and everything.
Bro, where does that come
chasing
from?
him.
Look at Max like, yeah, I've been saying to buy this shit since it was $1, brother.
He said, y'all listen to me, you be in the helicopter too. That's all time.
I just saw that on Twitter. I thought that was too funny. All right, we have Will Clemente joining us. Will, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Today's an exciting day. Bitcoin hit 45,000. I saw you tweeting up a storm. All kinds of different thoughts. How are you feeling about sentiment on Twitter and kind of in the market in general?
I'm good. It's pretty mixed. I feel like some people are still kind of disbelief, but you do have a few people in the timeline who are kind of euphoric. So it seems like a good kind of mix here. I mean, general vibe does kind of feel like disbelief, though.
Hey, but what bears have to remember is that you can be bearish at certain points and you may make a little bit of money, but ultimately you're picking up pennies in front of the steamroll. This is a decades-long trend that we only going up, and so
bears win the battle, bulls win the war. So
facts. Will, you should be on a plaque somewhere for saying that. That's a great thing. All right, talk to us about some of these charts you got. First is you've got the this price chart. You got a whole bunch of different levels, green and red, that are outlined here. What is this showing us?
Yeah, as you said, these are basically just price levels I drew out. I think the kind of main point I wanted to just get across here was just saying that I think at this point we're kind of right below major resistance, and so from like a short-term kind of trading perspective, I don't think the RR here being like giga long is great until we clear that resistance. You never want to buy right below resistance. You never want to sell right before before we hit major support. And so just from that perspective, as we're kind of pressing up against that major resistance, if I was a short-term trader and I wasn't already long, I would kind of just wait out to see what the reaction here is at this level. But nonetheless, again, we're approaching this major resistance level, both kind of in this consolidation
So
pattern.
then I don't kill this card if they attack me.
Which is right around 46, 47k. That's also around the yearly open. There's a few different moving averages over there as well. But that's kind of a, as I feel like we've been talking about for several weeks or whatever, that's kind of a key level that I've been watching. And then another kind of, I have two other ways you can look at confluence of this in addition to everything I just said. The first one is the next chart, which is short-term holder cost basis. So we talked about this last week, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. But essentially, this is the aggregated cost basis of all market participants that have been in the market for less than 155 days or less than 5 months. And right now, this kind of aggregated cost basis sits at 46,200. It does kind of move around a bit, week to week whenever we speak, but generally it's been hanging out around 46 to 47k. As of today, it's sitting at 46,200. And then last kind of thing that I wanted to point out for on the confluence of 46 to 47k being kind of an important level is the third chart. The third chart is looking at basically a heat map of all the bids and asks across different venues. In particular, in this chart, we're looking at Bitfinex. The reason we're looking at Bitfinex has a higher hit rate than most of the other venues. If not, they have the highest hit rate. Kind of backtesting, looking at all of the kind of quote-unquote walls that they set on the both bid and ask side. Generally speaking, Bitfinex tends to kind of be the smart money in a sense, and whenever they kind of place either buy or sell wall, that tends to have some dictation on future price movement. And so what we see currently is that they had just actually in the last hour or so kind of set this ask wall between 45 and 48k. So that's confluence as well. You're seeing some large asks step in from Bitfinex in particular. What you don't want to see is like a partial fill. So this seems kind of counterintuitive. Like what you want to see for bulls in this scenario, because we're talking about an ask wall, you want to actually see it fully get filled, see all the orders get filled. And conversely, if it was a bid wall, what bears would want to see is full fill.
Still gonna kill it.
The reason is because like the market basically moves in two ways. It moves because of effort and absorption. So effort being active orders they're stepping in, right? So when you just go on whatever venue you're using to allocate the Bitcoin, use market buy, right? You're buying at the market price. It's like if you go on eBay, right, and you hit buy it now, right? You're willing to maybe pay a little bit higher of a premium just to go ahead and get the exposure and lock in your purchase, right? And then there's limit orders. And limit orders are essentially saying, I like to use this eBay analogy because I think it makes somewhat of sense. You go on eBay, something's listed for $50. You don't want to pay $50. You say, well, I don't deem that fair value for this item, but I'll step in and place a bid at $40. If it fills, great. That's where I think this is worth my purchasing power. If not, then that's cool. It didn't reach what I think is fair value. It's the same thing in the order book for Bitcoin, right? And so people come in and they set limit orders both on the bid and ask side. And so whenever you see a clump of bids or asks or wall, whenever you see that fully fill, that means that the effort in the market is outweighing the absorption. So in this case, if we see this ask wall get fully filled, to me what that's indicating is that the effort or the active orders is outpacing the amount of absorption or this wall of asks that we're looking at now or limit orders that we're looking at now. So that's what I'd be looking at. Kind of the bear scenario would be these bids fill like 60, 70% and then price reverses, because at that point it's showing you that the amount of effort in the market couldn't outpace the amount of absorption that was set out, if that makes sense. But yeah, aside from everything I just said, specifically talking about order books, across the board, looking at order books, on-chain, and technical analysis, all three are showing that the kind of 46, 47k area is an important level for BTC. And so when you talk about kind of this other framework that we've been talking about is kind of there's value buyers and momentum buyers, right? And so I think for a lot of those kind of momentum market participants or trend following strategies, a lot of those will kind of trigger if we can get above that area.
So when you start to look at this, it's obvious that area is really, really important, right, in the spot market. I saw you tweeting this morning about the open interest just violently spiking upwards. And we've got the chart here for that as well. First, explain, like, when we see these massive movements up in open interest, what is that telling us is happening? And then how do you evaluate this in comparison to some of the spot stuff you were talking about?
Sure. So open interest is just telling you the number of contracts that are open. So that's where open interest by definition is telling you how much futures, how much interest is there from the futures market, in being active in Bitcoin. And so, a lot of times when I post this, people will automatically think that when I'm saying open interest is up, that it's bearish. It's not necessarily the case. I mean, most of the times that we spike up into the zone in the chart has been bearish. But all open interest rising is telling you is that there's a large amount of contracts coming into the market, right? And so that could be aggressive longs or shorts. So with that being said, again, all this is telling you is that there's a large amount of or buildup of contracts in the system, but we need to look at other things to kind of, give us hints as to the aggression of the positioning. Because there's always a long for every short. Sorry, Cody's deciding to eat my chair. There's always a long for every short. It's all about kind of gauging what's the aggression of the market participants on both sides of the contract, right? So the example that I always like to use is, for example, you have one contract, you could have like a degenerate on the long side that just wants leverage long exposure, but on the short side of that contract, you could have a market maker who's taking the short side of the contract, but they might be delta hedged by being long spot, so they're long spot and then they're short the perp contract. So it's all about kind of gauging what's the risk profile of all the different market participants that are making up that open interest, and we can look at the two charts after this to kind of gauge that positioning. Not only can we do that, but we can also look at in real time, aside from kind of what I just said, we're gonna look at the next two charts. That's kind of somewhat of a predictive approach as to kind of trying to gauge the open interest. The other thing we can do is look at how is the open interest behaving, and that can kind of in real time give us more clues. So what do I mean by this? Like if as we talked about 46k, really important price level. If price starts to wick above that and open interest is kind of just flat or increasing and you don't see any kind of wipe out in open interest, then that probably is indicating to you that a lot of that buildup hasn't been aggressive shorts, right? And conversely, if we start pushing above that price level, you start to see OI kind of spike down on pushes up. That's showing you that shorts are getting forced to close above that price level. So I would say you can look at the next two charts that we're about to look at. The other thing you can simply do is just sit out for a second, wait, see how is open interest reacting with the price level, and then kind of gauge your thesis from there. But with that, we'll look at from a more predictive standpoint two charts to kind of gauge in a predictive sense what do we think that how do we think that open interest is positioned. So first we'll look at the spot. Go ahead, my bad.
No, I was going to say the spot premium. Explain what's going on here with this first of the two charts.
Yeah, so on the bottom you'll see perpetuals basis. this is comparing the aggregated spot price versus the aggregated perp price. And so whenever the indicator's green, so you'll see whenever it like flips negative, that's just telling you that the spot is trading at a premium to perps. And then conversely, whenever it's gray or whenever it's positive, that's showing you that perps are trading at a premium to spot. Or in other words, spot is trading at a discount to perps. And so we've been in a pretty prolonged regime of spot premium over 3 months now, which I have to go back and double check on this, but I'm like 90% confident this is one of the longest spot premium regimes that we've ever seen in Bitcoin's trading history. So that's one thing. The second thing is the chart after that, which is the annualized rolling basis, the 3-month basis, or in other words, quarterlies, which I've been calling it in the newsletter. Essentially, this is the difference between the current spot price and the 3-month futures contracts. So you can buy spot, you can sell the future, capture the difference when the market's in contango. So what I did here was I took that basis and then I adjusted it for inflation, so for CPI inflation. Of course, if we want to get really nuanced, I don't think CPI is the proper gauge of inflation, but nonetheless, adjusting for CPI inflation, the 3-month basis is currently in backwardation.
It's like not letting me kill their guy.
Negative 2.5%, or I know it's negative 2 point something and some change. I posted it last night, the exact decimal point, if you want to check. It's just shy of negative 3%. But this current regime of negative basis has lasted 65 days compared to the 35-day regime that we saw during last summer. And so to me, this combined with the regime of spot premium that we've been in is showing to me overall that we just kind of got this healthy kind of derivatives greed reset, quote, if you will. And in general, you're kind of seeing a lot of that exuberance that's kind of cooled off from the derivatives market.
So when you start to think about this, it feels like we're watching a lot of the, I'll call it more kind of macro data points point towards Bitcoin. We were joking earlier that everyone in the mainstream media seems like, why is Bitcoin not going up? The geopolitical instability, inflation. It's like, well, Bitcoin's up about 30% or so since Russia invaded Ukraine, and it just feels like the volatility sometimes masks these types of moves. But then if we start to look at the on-chain underlying metrics, and I know you got a couple of these charts, it feels like, I think you said last week, like there is this laying out of a scenario where once a catalyst happens, it will ignite based on this illiquidity in the supply. Is that kind of still how you're thinking about this?
Yeah, exactly. The way Lynn Alden's put it is basically, we've got the fuel laid out, but we need spark, right? And so the two charts that we're about to look at are kind of visualizing that. The first one is the long-term holder accumulation ratio. This was created by Checkmate, who's the lead analyst at Glassnode, as well as David Quell from Ark Invest. We had David on the podcast this week, so I'm looking forward to that episode dropping. But this metric essentially compares the rate of growth in long-term holder supply to the rate of increase in Bitcoin supply issuance. And so whenever this metric is significantly trending down, whenever it's below zero, it's showing you that the amount of long-term holder accumulation is outpacing Bitcoin supply issuance. So in other words, it's got this deflationary aspect to it because more supply is getting locked up and is coming into circulation. And so currently, by that measure, Bitcoin supply, based off of this specific measure, is currently at the most deflationary level that it's ever been in its trading history. So in other words, it's showing you the long-term holders are locking up a supply at a pace that's outpacing Bitcoin's issuance to an extent that's never occurred before in the Bitcoin market.
Yeah, it's incredible to see this, man. It feels like we're just seeing this all play out all over again from the summer of 2021. When we look at the illiquid supply shock, we can literally see that is what was happening. I'll talk through this a little bit.
Yeah, so very similar to summer, except this divergence is now I double-checked after we talked about it last week. It's now confirmed it's the largest divergence that we've seen from this specific measure in Bitcoin's history. This is the specific metric I created back at the beginning of last summer, in like May or June of last summer. It's comparing the amount of supply held by illiquid entities, who are entities who sell less than 25% of the coins they take in, to highly liquid and liquid entities. So in other words, it's a ratio of weak to strong hands. Whenever the ratio is ticking up, that means supply is moving towards entities who sell less than 25% of the coins that they take in. At the same time, this also adjusts for the increasing amount of supply. So one of the questions I would often get about liquid supply before I created the ratio was, well, isn't this naturally going to go up as supply comes into circulation? But this metric actually adjusts for that because it's telling you the relative amount compared to highly liquid and liquid supply. So it's telling you at all times, no matter how much supply there is, what's the relative holdings between those two cohorts. And so as you just mentioned, seeing this tick up over the last 2 weeks is obviously a good sign, but in general, we've just seen this massive divergence over the last 2 months, 2-3 months really, of supply continually getting locked up by these entities who have a low historical tendency to sell. Conversely to what people will often refute about exchange balances dropping, right? The argument there is always, well, exchange balances are going down, but people can just move the coins right back to exchanges in 10 minutes. And technically, yes, that's true, but with illiquid supply, it's literally telling you the historical tendency for every on-chain entity to sell their coins. It looks at, based off of heuristics on my wallet, what's the amount of BTC that I'm taking in and selling. And so, by definition, aside from what that argument is about exchange balances, this is literally telling you the likelihood of those coins coming back onto the market, right? And so, in confluence with long-term holder supply, this again is showing you just that supply is getting locked up. And I also think it's really interesting to note kind of the difference between now and late 2018. In 2018, illiquid supply dropping pretty much March 2017 top and continued to decline all the way through into the bottom of the bear market. And so, that's another kind of difference between now and then, and kind of the underlying supply dynamics from an on-chain perspective.
What about whales? What are they doing?
Yeah, so the next chart, we're looking at the essentially what I did is I took all the large whale balances, quote unquote. It's all the entities who have over 1,000 BTC.
They can do 4 damage to me. I was about to start adding it up and be like, what do I do to them if I just attack them outright?
QBTC, all the OTC desks that Glassnode tracks, some of these different entities that they have heuristics on and have actually labeled. And so then you filter that out, and you get what I call quote unquote filtered.
Yeah, I'm about to make it so they have to attack.
Whales bought all the way into the beginning of 2021. A lot of that was the GBTC arbitrage as well as the cash and carry trade that drew capital on the spot. You saw whales holdings rise really substantially. Then they distributed into that whole kind of topping period from end of February to the beginning of May. They started reaccumulating at the bottom of the summer. We talked about that here on the show. I remember that initial top there at the end of July, like it was yesterday. And then they started distributing into the end of the year last year. Over the last month or so, you've seen some interesting behavior. You saw them kind of buy the bottom at 33, 34K. Distributed back into this consolidation, and then over the last week or so, you start to see their holdings tick up a bit. Curious if any of that is dope on, but we've seen their holdings uptick a little bit over the last few days. But still, when you zoom out, we're still in a downtrend from September of last year in terms of their holdings. But conversely, though, what you do see is that the smaller guys have been stacking really aggressively, and so that's that orange line in specific. I just pulled up the entities with 1 to 10 BTC, and so what you see is that their holdings over the last month or two have really just kind of aggressively moved up, roughly offsetting some of the selling that we've seen from whales over that same time period. So obviously you'll note the divergence between, it seems like the smaller guys have been buying from looking on chain, and the whales have kind of been distributing over the last month or two, which is this kind of interesting divergence, which of course isn't ideal, right? Because generally speaking, retail doesn't outsmart large buyers. But if we look over summer, you'll see a very similar kind of signature, right? Because the smaller guys were actually stacking through all summer. They sold from January 2021 all the way to May 2021, and then they bought from the bottom in May 2021 all the way until the end of the year. And they actually front ran all the whales buying at the end of July, and so you can see that they're kind of smack dab in the middle of the chart during the summer range of last year. So it's just something to keep in mind. Although ideally, what we do want to see is starting to see some of those, the whale balances start to tick up substantially again and kind of break us out of this downtrend in our holdings that we've been in since last September.
All right, now I got one question for you, then Joe's gonna ask some questions. Do Kwon says he's gonna buy $10 billion worth of Bitcoin. He's got $3 billion in dry powder. He's starting to buy. He's buying 100 million or so a day. It seems. How much of the recent, 10-12% increase in price is just him buying versus other things?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, right? Because the way he's kind of bought is he's like basically told the whole market that he's gonna buy. And I tweeted like a week or two ago. I was like,
for what? Oh my god, that like did nothing.
Last week it wasn't priced in.
How much mana is it? 4 mana to be able to destroy one of my creatures.
It's solely just been people front running him, right? And people knowing that there's just a steady bid and steady TWAP over the last week, right? And then the second question is, will he be able to initiate momentum in the market? And so what I mean by that is, I think Sailor, for example, at the end of 2020, I think he played a large role in kind of initiating some of that momentum. Not only just because of the corporate treasury announcement, which in itself was good for Bitcoin's narrative as kind of that whole the inflation hedge narrative that really propelled us into the end of 2020, but solely just from a supply demand aspect, because he took a large portion of supply off the market, locked up a large portion of supply.
They're at 20 health now.
Initiated or helped initiate some of that momentum.
Did it heal them that much? Like what the fuck happened?
He's bid into the market that's helping it drive higher. So I'm curious, will his bid is it, he's not finished yet? Will that be able to
that just makes no sense.
Momentum thresholds trigger some of these trend following market participants momentum stuff. Will he be able to trigger that, or will we just see as soon as he's done buying will we just come right back down? Right? Are people just saying, all right, I'm just gonna step out of his way, let him finish his buys, and then we'll just continue on down? We'll see. I mean, we have the way I would approach that question would just be to say set some definitive levels. We're looking at momentum to get reclaimed. We've talked about some of those things at the beginning, and then just look at this in kind of an if-then format. If it reclaims, okay, then I guess he did initiate some of that momentum. If not, then no. So that's kind of the way I'm seeing it. I'm curious if we'll see that kind of follow through once he's done. Hey, Tom, can we look at this? I just want to, for 10 seconds, I just want to show this one last chart. I think it's interesting for people to note. Just real quick, it's the last one. It's the U.S. trading hours. So I think this is interesting for people to note because when you look at throughout Bitcoin's history, Asia's really dominated the market.
Correct.
And you saw that even into like the end of 2020 into kind of early 2021. But since the end of May, we're talking about like the different types of buyers. We just talked about kind of the size of the buyers, that kind of thing. We talked about kind of the spending history. When we're talking about where the buyers coming from. It's really interesting to see U.S. trading hours when you compare them to other trading sessions and trading hours and the price.
Where is the fucking nefarious buyer when you need it? Like when is the thing gonna come up?
Hours have traded at a premium, and that's kind of increasingly happening. So I think that's. I just want to say real quick that I think that's interesting that you're starting to see some increasing interest in Bitcoin from the United States during U.S. trading hours.
It's super interesting. I think that this is the type of stuff that one, kudos to you for seeing a lot of this stuff. But also two, I think this is the intellectual curiosity.
It's going to be game, and I have not gotten that thing.
It's been around forever, and there's questions. Joe, questions you got? Yeah, I was going to actually ask about that because I saw your tweet this morning and I thought that was interesting. My other question though would be around some of the stuff we've seen in the news. I feel like we've talked about this before, but I'd love to just get a better understanding about how you think about some of these large corporations and entities buying Bitcoin and how you tell that from the data. Right? So we've seen not necessarily buying maybe, but BlackRock, right? They've been in the news that they're very interested in serving their clients with Bitcoin. Goldman Sachs, I think he posted on Twitter the front page of their website, which was very funny. But how do you think about it from an on-chain perspective? Are there specific things that you look at and you say, hey, this is what needs to change to realize that some of these big players are actually in the game now?
I think the obvious thing would just be looking at whales balances, right? And start to see the large buyers not only in their holdings but also the number of whales stepping in. That's what we saw at the end of 2020. We saw like unprecedented growth in the number of whales as well as their holdings. So that would be kind of the biggest telltale sign. The other kind of thought experiment I've gone through with what you just kind of described is when we have these entities coming in, are they looking to
destroy a creature again?
Liquid tokens, obviously Bitcoin being the main thing, but whether you like other coins or not, I mean these traditional finance people are interested in.
Like how many cars did they have that just said destroy a creature, dude? That was so many cars that did that.
Right, basically kind of the when there's a was it gold rush, you want to be selling shovels.
1,
like, will we see Goldman, for example,
2,
will they just be looking to get involved with building out like OTC desks,
3,
execution forms, and infrastructure for large clients, and will they focus on that?
4,
or will they do some kind of liquid token?
5,
that's the question that I don't really have
6.
I've asked some of my buddies who have a little bit of like DriveFi background.
1 out of every 5 cards in their deck will destroy a creature.
Well, the only way to really tell is I guess with time, but from an on-chain perspective, to like fully answer your question, it would just be some of the whale stuff that I described would be kind of obvious thing.
You liked Goldman Sachs website?
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
That's so ridiculous, bro.
Space, get attention. Didn't mention Bitcoin though. It's just kind of whole digital asset, metaverse. That's kind of what it seemed like they're interested in. But everybody's got to start somewhere. Get them down the funnel, right? So
like it. Well, when you think about what we're watching play out here, if Do Kwon is successful in backing UST with Bitcoin, do you think we could see a bunch of other stablecoins and maybe central banks kind of follow the playbook, and that just is like a multi-year?
1 out of every 5 cards.
Bitcoin and back their assets.
And the highest cost one was like 4 mana.
I took Cody on a walk this morning, and I was listening to it when it was like 2 hours ago actually. So I like the last question you asked, which is basically like along the same premise of what you just said. And
I feel like destroy a card should cost like 5 to 6 mana. Period. You should not be able to just destroy a card unless it's 5 or 6 mana.
As being another blockchain, right? At the same time, I think Bitcoiners aren't fully.
It just needs to be something like,
a currency,
it needs to be worth it.
A currency being backed with Bitcoin as the pristine collateral that it is, and so I think personally it's a genius move by Do Kwon, and I do think that over time, once Bitcoin's liquidity grows, you can't back the U.S. dollar with Bitcoin quite yet, but I think over time you'll see more currencies be at least partially backed by Bitcoin. Maybe over time we start to see something like a part gold, part Bitcoin backing at first, or peg I should say at first, and then maybe over time that pivots to solely Bitcoin. We'll see, but I do think this is kind of an interesting, it's kind of 0 to 1 event in terms of currencies being backed with BTC. Very similar to kind of like the Sailor immaculate conception of corporate treasury announcements. I think, or the El Salvador nation state adoption. Like, I think this is up there with those types of events in terms of significance for Bitcoin's adoption moving forward.
I completely agree. I think there's a lot of reasons why people may not like it, but I actually think this is incredibly bullish. And after having talked to him, like, he's Bitcoin, right? He understands. He gets exactly why Bitcoin's valuable, pristine collateral, etc. So that's pretty cool. Before we let
he's
you
not
go,
competing with Bitcoin. He sees it as additive, and that's, I think, although I don't, full disclosure, I don't own any Luna, but I think some of the Bitcoin people maybe should realize, like, they, like, Do Kwon sees Bitcoin the same lens they do, and he's trying to make it an additive thing because he understands the value proposition of Bitcoin, that pristine collateral in the same way that they do. So.
Correct. Before we let you go, tell us about the...
Probably get one more battle in, then I gotta go.
Oh, sure. Thanks for the plug. Had it on Yassine, Alamandra, and David Quell from Ark Invest this week on the pod. So it should be out tomorrow. We'll talk about all things on-chain derivatives. They're doing some cool stuff. They got a lot of research coming out, new cool stuff. They got a couple metrics that they created, so we kind of ran through that, including the long-term holder accumulation ratio that we talked about earlier in this conversation. So should be a fun one. But if you're interested, hop over on Blockware Intelligence. That's our YouTube channel. So.
Awesome, man. All right. Well, everyone feels better when it's green, not red. Seems like prices going up. That's the most basic level. So we'll keep watching and try to get next week. I appreciate it very much.
All right, brother. You guys have a good weekend. Thanks again.
By the way, he's at 599. He's almost at 600K.
Oh, getting close.
Yeah, let's go. Push him over the edge there. Yeah. Maybe Joe tweets one. Everyone's everybody follows. I think the smart thing to do. If you want some free alpha, go follow Will. All right, buddy. Sounds good. See you later. See you, Will.
All right, see you guys.
He's going to eat. Not about him. Well, I think it looks good. We got a good setup going right now. We got a great setup. Also, nice little the set that we're on, our little environment here seems a lot more spacious. Yeah, without Johnny. Can't do my union belt like that though. Don't do that. I'll be back. All right. Anything else you got? No. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Do you, Lo? All right. Do you hope everyone has a good weekend?
The entire market going up. Doge is 5% down.
Yeah, for sure. Look right at the camera and tell everyone have a good weekend. Have a great weekend, everyone. We appreciate all of you.
Is SHIB even going down? I don't even know if SHIB is going down right now.
Sweet.
So what makes people believe in Doge so strong? SHIB is going down. Bitcoin and Ethereum, the Rego tokens are taking the money. They're going to take the money until they're done going up.
We had a couple laughs. Joe will bring his syrup bottle of water next week. Oh, hold on, actually. See this? See this move right here, Joe? If you want one of these, you know, go you have t-shirts and this hoodie.
Oh man, it's kind of like explains to you that people don't really understand market cycles. A short and sweet of a market cycle. What are the cryptocurrency market cycles? Bitcoin, go up. / Bitcoin, Ethereum go up. But generally it's Bitcoin go up. So those two tokens are going to go up, right? They're going to drag the rest of the market along with it. AKA people are going to start throwing their money into other tokens. And after Bitcoin goes up so much, a lot of these people that are throwing money into the market and making money are like millionaires and shit like that. So if you're a millionaire, let's just do this math real quick, and you make 10% on Bitcoin going up, 1 million times 10%, that's $100,000. So you got $100,000 that you can now play around with. A lot of these micro cap coins, and people look for what are known as micro cap coins. Doge was a micro cap coin. It's no longer a micro cap. SHIB was a micro cap. It's no longer a micro cap. But people look for these micro caps because if you put money into a micro cap coin, it can exponentially push your profits up. So investor, who just made, off of a small 10% rally, it's small for crypto, but 10%, pretty good. 10% rally with $1 million, you just made $100,000. So now you're going to take, $10,000, $20,000. Let's say you take $20,000 and you put it in SHIB. You know what I'm saying? You put $20,000 in SHIB. You already have $100,000 of profit. $20,000 goes into SHIB. SHIB goes off on a huge spree of like 300% in a month, because that happens. Times 300%. Now you have 60,000 from that. Now you have 160,000 from a 10% Bitcoin gain. what's going to happen next? What are you going to do with that $60,000 worth of SHIB? And meanwhile, at this point, everybody, all normies are like, oh shit, SHIB or Dogecoin. Dogecoin is the move. Dogecoin just went up 300% because it was a micro cap. Dogecoin just went up 300%. Just went up 300%. What are you going to do with your money now? Bitcoin made you your initial gains. You're going to take your money and you're going to put at least some of it back into Bitcoin. So you're going to take 20 or more. You're probably going to take like 40,000 at this point, honestly. So 40,000 goes back into Bitcoin, which maybe dipped a little bit. And if it did dip, congratulations for you, because you just made a bunch of money and now you're about to buy them back for like lower. But chances are it's still somewhere around the same price level. You're about to buy up $40,000 more Bitcoin. You buy up $40,000 more Bitcoin, and you and everybody else who has the same amount of money as you, or that's that similar level, is buying up $40,000 of Bitcoin, or some amount of Bitcoin, as well as normies that are just now trickling into the market because everybody's buying it all the time. And so now you got $40,000 going back into Bitcoin. You got $140,000 around, give or take, of Bitcoin. This is when we're explaining market cycle right now. So now you have around $140,000 worth of Bitcoin. Because you and everybody else are buying into the market, Bitcoin goes up. So let's do that math. 140,000. And now Bitcoin's going to go up, not just that first time, but now it's going to go up for a 15% rally because everybody's buying into the market now. Everybody's buying it. Is crazy. I can't believe it's going up like this. This is crazy. What's happening to Bitcoin? Let's say it goes up only 6%. Let's be more like a little bit nicer. Everybody's buying in and it only goes up 6%, but you have $140,000 to go up 6% with. What is that? You've now made $8,000 off of that going up. And so now, what do you do with the $8,000? And you're in a lot of profit. You're in a lot of profit. You're catching up to $250,000 here soon if you keep playing your cards right. If you get, Bitcoin goes up 50% during this entire bull cycle, you're probably going to make $250,000, $500,000 is how you're looking at it right now. You're making $10,000 every play almost. You got $8,400 from a 6% increase. Again, if that was double, which I was initially saying, that'd be $16,000. What are you going to do with those profits? You're going to take half of those profits. You take $8,400 of those dollars and you invest it in another small cap. That small cap goes up 50%. That's a small increase for some of these small caps. They do it all the time. So you go up 50%. That's another $4,000. Do you see it yet? Like, that should start to unexplain the market cycle. And then what do you do with that $4,000 that you just made? Do you just keep it in this token that went up 50%? No, you maybe leave $1,000 in that token that just went up 50% as your moon bag, as they like to call it. This is known as a moon bag. You leave some of the profit that you just made, because it's way more than you put in, and you leave some of it there as what might go up. So now you're going to go back to Bitcoin with $3,000. And it's like now you have, 16? You have somewhere around $160,000, and you just keep doing that cycle. It's freaking crazy, y'all. It's crazy. But that's the market cycle, and that's what a lot of people really actually miss with cryptocurrency, and they think that these Dogecoin and this and that are like the real movers. But like those, now you can make money off of those, sure, but unless the market is moving, you don't want to put your money in those. You want to wait for Bitcoin. Have your money sitting in Bitcoin or Ethereum, and it's not financial advice. Can't get financial advice or anything like that. But generally, you put your money in Bitcoin or Ethereum, and you wait for those to move the market. After those move the market, you can start to diversify and go into other things. Like, okay, Bitcoin's starting to move. I'm going to put my money in Doge now. I know Doge is about to pump because somebody made money off of Bitcoin, and now those big people that are actually going to move the market can start to do that. Or you just figure normie psychology. They're going to start being like, oh, maybe Doge will go up. But you don't just generally I believe Doge is the king. That's the real one that's going to move them. But Doge has never moved the market. Ever. It's never moved the market. Elon Musk has moved the market more than Doge has moved the market. Get out of here. I really want to do one more game, but then I feel like it's going to make me really tight on time. And so I'm not going to. Maybe I'll be able to come back and get a game in, but that'll probably be off stream. I got to be real with myself. You got to be real with yourself, Smurf. It's probably not going to happen on stream then. Yeah, you're right. It's been fun. It's been fun today. I think I just lost that last game though. Didn't I? Yeah, they pissed me off. It was 3-2, but it was 3-1. For a very short amount of time there. Yeah, see you guys in the next one. Learn something about cryptocurrency. Don't just go out there speculating and gambling and stuff like that. Actually try to learn something, because like, yeah, as much as it is a gamble, there's certain things that you can do along with, like, you know, with gambling and poker and stuff like that. Understanding the game is always that much better than just playing the game and not understanding the game. So go out there, try to learn something about crypto, about NFTs, about blockchain game. Don't just take whoever's advice. Don't just take my word for it. You know, go out there, read. Don't just watch videos, but also read about things. And read from, like, you know, good resources, not just the news resources, but people that care about blockchain and have done their work. You know, their livelihood is around blockchain. That's who you want to listen to, not just the news. They don't know about this stuff. You know, I wouldn't go to the news to learn about how to actually play basketball. They don't. That's not their life. Or football. That's not their life. It's not. I might go to some sports analyst and learn something from them, but then that's just an analyst. And if that analyst is not an actual athlete, I'm not going to listen to them much either. I'm going to take what they say with a grain of salt. And that's how you have to be about things. You know, everybody gets that in sports and stuff, but they don't want to act that way when it comes to, like, making money in cryptocurrency. So there's just some advice for you guys. You know, that wasn't financial advice, but that was just, like, you know, how to do research type of advice. See you guys in the next one. Your boy MMG Smurf out. We had nobody under the giveaway today, so it is what it is. But see you in the next one.